My bad.
Oh, we got audio now?
We got audio now. My bad. So all of Larry's open. Didn't get in there. So my bad, everybody. I forgot to push a button. Look at. So stupid. I shut the whole system down because we've had some bugs, and I think I'm gonna have to replace the main mixer, the main video switcher.
Oh, wow.
It won't. It
Our
died.
church went offline today. It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
during services. Wild.
Yeah, it died. So anyway, sorry about the non-audio. So we'll do it again. Do your thing again, Larry, from right there, from your chair.
All right. And now, live from the Man Cave Studios, deep in the heart of constitutional Livingston County, Michigan, on a Sunday night conversation with former Michigan Sheriff, State Rep, and Senator Rick Jones, with a special co-host tonight, Mr. James Benson, Auto Workers for Trump, and yours truly, Larry Parsons. This is My Brain, and now your host, Mr. Jeremy Scott Gibbs.
The guy who can't turn the audio. What I did was I unplugged everything, shut everything down since Tuesday.
Yeah.
And there's all these little buttons you got to turn, and so all the audio was shut off on the board. That's when I ran over, and then the music kicked on, and then I didn't think to turn the microphones on.
Yes.
So now I can see that we're audio.
And
audio's
now
back.
everybody knows that I can read,
That's
and so I can't use that as an excuse
It wasn't
anymore.
pre-recorded.
ridiculous, ridiculous. So again, as I said, and you guys didn't hear it, you could just see nobody knew what was going on. Rick, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Sheriff, representative, and senator from the great state of Michigan. Looking forward to this. I thank Jim's for being back. It's been a little while.
I think last time I was here with Christina, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The judge.
The judge.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
We like Christina.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Endorsements here.
Yes, we do.
So, Rick, let's get started. I put in here that just in the title of the thing. Wow, Larry.
You all right over there?
That's
Perspective
what I just said.
as part of the conversation. But I want to dive in a little bit. We started talking during dinner about your history.
Sure.
You know, you said 31 years, correct, in the
In police work,
in
yes.
police work, and then but you served your last 4 as sheriff.
Correct.
And then you saw some dynamics there and some political stuff we'll get into a little bit, and that pushed you into going, well, I think I can do this. And you had, would you say five successful? You ran for rep 3 times and then for Senate twice.
Correct.
So you've had quite the career, and there's some legislation we're going to touch on. But let's start out. Unfortunately, your wife just recently passed.
Back in September.
Oh, back in September. Well, that's recent enough. My mom passed back in last January, so that's fresh. And we put out shout out condolences to our regular Tuesday co-host Patrick. His mom passed this week, and so
Yeah, man,
you guys
sorry,
be
Patrick.
praying for Patrick. You know how loved he is here. But where do you want to start, Rick, in just your history and what led you into it? I loved the story that you were telling us during dinner about how when you applied at the sheriff's department, or was it I don't know, it was sheriff's department, it was law enforcement, and they were like, we got to make sure that you don't have any outstanding debts because we don't pay a lot here, and we want to make sure you can't get put on the take if you're not making enough on your paycheck.
Yeah.
Do you want to start there? Do you want to start a little bit further? I'd love to hear about your
Just a little bit before that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan,
Okay.
and my first job was at a place called the Post House Restaurant. It was owned by Greyhound,
Okay.
and all the buses that went between Chicago and Detroit had to stop there because the drivers had to have 30 minutes away from the road.
Okay.
So I either was working on 2 customers or 7 busloads.
Wow.
So I learned how to work as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I really learned how to work.
Yeah.
And while there, I happened to meet my wife. We were both young people.
Okay.
And in fact, I took her to her prom, and she
Nice.
was the only lady that I ever dated.
Wow.
Wow.
We were married. She was 19, I was 20, and she just passed away after 52 years of marriage.
Wow.
Right.
Well, that's
My
a huge
condolences,
milestone,
sir.
but condolences. Yeah.
Well, while working
Yeah.
at the Post House Restaurant, which used to be at I-94 and Helmer Road in Battle Creek, a lot of bad things happened to me.
Okay.
I got robbed. I got counterfeit money, shoplifting.
Wow.
I mean, fights. All sorts of things happened.
Rough crowd.
So I met
From
a lot
Chicago?
of I met a lot of police officers, and so I got to talking to them late at night. Like we were talking 3 a.m. I'd be
Okay.
talking to police officers, having coffee, and I said, I kind of would like to do what you guys are doing. At the time, I was going to Western University,
Okay.
and they said you really ought to go to Kellogg Community College because they have a law enforcement degree, and at that time, most officers didn't have a big degree of
Okay.
anything.
Right. Right.
So I transferred from Western University to little Kellogg Community College, got my 2-year degree,
Okay.
and I started looking for jobs. And as soon as I hit 21, I went to every police department I could go to
Okay.
and applying. Eaton County was hiring at the sheriff department. And so my interrogation was, we see you were an A student, but you can't afford to work here. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, we pay $7,000
A year.
a year.
Wow.
And this was the beginning of '74.
Wow.
And
Okay.
at the time, you could make 5, 6, maybe 7 times more than that working for Oldsmobile, which of course now is General Motors.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And they're like, you can't afford to work here. I said, yes, sir, I can. Well, do you own a house? No, sir. Do you owe any money on a car? No, sir. Do you owe any money on credit cards? No, sir. You don't owe any money to anybody? No, sir.
You're hired.
And
No, I
They
know how to
s-
work.
they said, well, maybe you can afford to work here. So that's what happened. I got my job at Eaton County. I started as a lowly paid deputy, went up through the ranks, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, jail administrator. Finally made the decision to run for sheriff
Okay.
and was successful. And so my career went from deputy to sheriff.
I hope that paid better.
Honestly, at the time, it really didn't pay a lot of money. And I'm sure there's deputies making more than what I made at the time
Wow.
Yeah.
now. But that's okay.
Right.
It was a good career. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
I shot at twice in the line of duty.
Wow.
I stopped an armed robbery. I should be dead 3 times.
Wow.
Wow.
I
Okay.
credit
The
God
Lord-
would say,
Oh, yeah.
saving
Lord is
my
looking out
life
for
3
you.
Yeah.
times. I really do.
Yeah.
So it's, I forget what percentage is. It's very low percentage that actually discharged their weapon. Were in any of those occurrences, did you have to discharge your weapon, or?
I never shot a person. I put a lot of deer down. I unfortunately had to put a horse down,
Oh.
but I never had to shoot a person. I learned very young, started at 21, out on the street. I had to learn how to talk people down
Right.
De-escalation.
because
Right.
my backup might be 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm out in a county, rural roads,
Yes.
and maybe nobody's going to come help you, so you better know how to
Right.
talk to people.
Right. No
100%.
Lone Ranger out there.
No.
So
Yeah.
what years were you sheriff?
Let me think. That would have been 2001, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay. I moved to Livingston County here in 2003.
Okay.
That's why he left.
Okay. In 2002, I had the Great Potterville train derailment.
Oh.
We had 5 cars
Okay.
leaking propane
Wow.
next to a car full of sulfuric acid.
What?
And the experts came in and said 1 spark
Yeah.
in the town of Potterville
Is
will
gone.
be gone. You've got to evacuate everybody. So I evacuated everybody, had firefighters and police officers going door to door saying, you get out of here, get in your car.
Yeah.
Brought in a bus for the people who didn't have a car, got everybody out of there. And it was evacuated for 5 long days.
Wow.
That's
took-
insane.
It took that long to get
Here we go,
the
guys.
dangerous propane out of there.
Here we go, guys.
Wow.
There, you can see some of that. Here, let me see if I can blow it up a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2002. Wow. Look at that.
That is
So that's one of the big
insane.
propane. And
Yes.
Were they all 5 like right together?
Very
Or
close.
They all.
Very
they didn't
close.
have any spacing. Maybe a car or 2 between them.
Yeah. yeah
Now,
it was
what
never-
caused? I wonder what caused that derailment.
They determined, they actually called it an act of God because they had checked the rails before that and there was no brakes.
Yeah.
But somehow one of the rails separated.
Okay.
So the train hit that and it was derailed.
Wow. That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah,
I know for a long time, some of the infrastructures they've had trains. Well, you'll see it. They got the whole machine where it'll come through and it'll take out the train ties from underneath. They got that whole machine that'll pop them out, pop new ones in, and then they sell
Yeah.
a bunch of them at the Home Depot
Yep.
or Lowe's. And so it's like, but I've seen it to where they've done exposés or something like that on the trains, and they'll show how bad the tracks can get in a relatively short time. So if they're not maintained, so that's wild. That one just popped and derailed that whole thing. 5 days that they were back.
That's crazy.
That's wild, dude. That's wild.
And at the end of it,
Yeah.
I got to compliment Canadian National Railroad.
Okay.
They set up shop in a church. People were allowed to come in and make claims,
Yeah.
and they took care of people.
Okay.
They'd say, here's all my bills. I had to stay at a motel. I had to buy food. I had to buy some jeans for work.
They took care
Here's
of
a
it.
check.
Wow.
Really?
They must have known they're going to take away the truckers' money back, in the future.
That's a rare time where a company's stepping up and you're
Right.
not dealing with a corporation on that.
That's
So-
incredible.
So you weathered that one. You were, did a phenomenal job by all reports, which we can see that. So that's halfway through your term as sheriff? You said you in
Yeah,
2001?
2002, I believe, was the derailment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also did something on my first day as sheriff that a lot of people weren't happy about it in the jail.
Okay.
I decided, too many inmates were getting in fights, gambling over football games and baseball games and basketball games. So I
You
said,
took the TV.
we're done.
Yeah.
We're going to just turn all the TVs off. There is no requirement to have a TV. I did find, however, you have a number of people that are in jail that are burnt out.
Right.
In my day, it was airplane glue. Now, of course, it's a lot of other things. They just,
You got to prove an ID to get a can of spray paint. Home Depot.
yes, huffing.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, you got a lot of guys and they needed something to stare at all day because they were gone.
Right.
And so I said, okay, we'll give them one channel, the Discovery Channel.
There we go.
Nice.
And that's all they got. That's all they got. And still to this day, I have former inmates come up and see me and say, I can never watch that channel again. It drove me crazy.
Even Shark Week. No, can't do
Oh,
it.
dude.
Oh,
Yeah, but the Shark Week's not what it used to be.
no.
No, I love that with my kids. They'd come sit down and watch Discovery Channel, History Channel, all that stuff back when it was, actual stuff. But that's Gypsy Magic's chiming in and says, I remember the days when peace officers took pride in never having to remove their gun from its holster.
Yep.
This was when they lived in a town that they served and had critical thinking skills. Yeah, this is when you had people there. And I know we're going to get into some of the gun legislation that you've been involved in and do that, being a sheriff and that dynamic. But it's an elected office. It's the only constitutional law enforcement office there is. And I find those dynamics to be pretty profound when we look at the overreach of a lot of agencies and a lot of...
I don't think a lot of people locally realize the powers of a sheriff. Like, I don't think people really understand the power that sheriff has.
100%.
And it's unfortunate that the ones that abuse it are the ones that do know the power, and the ones that don't often are more of a doormat. So it's refreshing to hear your story. I mean, that's pretty good.
Rick, did you ever have to deputize somebody on the spot to help you out in a situation like the train derailment or anything like that? Because I know you have that power, that authority to deputize temporarily.
That's true.
Yeah.
However, I had what used to be known as a posse,
Oh, hell yeah.
now known as the Mounted Division.
Okay.
And I had 40 people on it, and they were out
So
there.
you could call them up at any time?
They were volunteers that were out there giving their time,
Yeah.
serving, did a wonderful job.
Okay.
They even got rubber booties for the horses, so if they were on patrol at night, making sure nobody was looting,
Yeah.
they're tiptoeing on rubber booties, no sparks.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Now that's
Nice.
thinking.
Yeah.
That is.
That's thinking. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have thought of that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another dynamic of being a sheriff, constitutional sheriff, is having that power and authority to be able to deputize or have a posse of people ready. I've floated the idea, not officially, but
You're gonna run for
on the show.
sheriff?
No.
Oh.
The dynamic of a sheriff being able to go through the county and say this is totally voluntary, but anybody in the county that would like to be part of a quote unquote, well, they have different terms now, but the traditional militias, which Larry likes to tout, was anybody of able body in a given area that would come to serve. And now it's morphed, but still having that saying, look, if you want to come in and voluntarily give your name, we'll do a little quick background check. We're not trying to be invasive, but we'd love to know that you're available in the community if trouble, if there's a situation, and know that you're a law-abiding citizen. That's another dynamic of bringing a community together versus having, law enforcement being just about writing tickets and arresting people, but actually being a part of the community, knowing that we're working together for that constitutional dynamic of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
The Michigan militia, the local one at Eaton County,
Yeah.
actually came to me
Okay.
and said, "You're the only one we respect."
Okay.
And I said, "I understand. However,
Yeah.
I also respect the city police and the state police.
Absolutely.
And I work with the FBI.
Yes. And I'm not trying to denigrate any of those other agencies, anything like that. I just look at it from a constitutional dynamic, and I have the highest respect. I've got a couple buddies that serve in municipal police departments. I would never denigrate their service and what they do. But when I look at constitutional-wise, I go, that to me is, our highest law enforcement. And of course, we've got a good sheriff. We've had a couple good sheriffs here in Livingston County, our current one. But I look at that and I go, when you're a sheriff and you're phenomenal at what you do, and you're with respect to the community, that says even more, because your allegiance is to the elected, your electorate. You have to face those people at least every 4 years for that, whereas some of the other agencies don't. They don't have that direct accountability to the people.
Right.
That's a dynamic that I love about that.
Well, I found I could get along with the militia.
Oh, 100%.
They
You
came
seem
to
like
me
a nice guy, Rick.
and they said, you know, we think we can work with you. And I said, well,
I don't know if I can work with you guys.
you know, feel free to call me anytime.
Yes.
And they said, well, by the way, we want you to know that we only respect you because you're constitutional.
Okay.
However, you know, our rules say that if you violate being a constitutional sheriff, we can take you to the nearest tree in the courtyard and hang you.
Okay.
And I said, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, this is their conversation with me. And I said, that's interesting. And
I don't think they were kidding.
they never got violent to my knowledge. And I can tell you on one occasion, they actually helped me decelerate a situation that could have gotten very dangerous and gotten people killed.
Okay.
The county surrounded a home that had 10 junk cars,
Okay.
began to tow them away. They'd given this man, you know, warning after warning. So he comes out, racks a shotgun, shoots it in the air a couple of times.
Okay.
So now we got a serious situation. We got deputies
Yeah.
surrounding this thing. Well, who calls me? The militia. Said, we know this guy.
We could.
He wants to be a member of the militia, and we haven't let him in.
I wonder why.
Wise choice.
But we know him. Can we help you? And I said, well, what is it you think you can do? Well, we think we can talk him into giving up. I said, okay, you talk him into giving up, that'd be just fine. Tell him, come out without a gun, show his hands,
Right.
come out, and he'll be safely arrested. There won't be any violence.
Okay.
So they called me back, and they said, well, he has to have a personal promise from you,
Oh my.
the sheriff, that says he will be arrested, but his wife and kids won't be taken away. They won't be arrested. The kids won't be taken away from the mother. Nothing bad will happen to them. And I said, well, they haven't done anything
Right.
wrong.
Right.
So you have my promise. If he
Right.
comes out, puts his hands up, nobody will beat him up. He will be arrested. He'll go to court. But everybody's going to leave the wife and kids alone. By golly, here he comes.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the militia actually helped me.
Wow.
Amazing.
And in later years, the head of that militia called me up and said, you know, I got a daughter. She's 16, and she's really going in the wrong direction. Could you do a scared straight with her? Could you give her a tour of the jail? And I said, I'd be happy to give your daughter a tour of the jail. I've done it for many teenagers when the parents come in and ask. I said, but you got to remember, they're inmates. And, you
They're
know,
not going to be
No.
some inmate might moon her
Yeah.
or something. You know, I can't control them.
right.
You know, or give her the finger or
Yeah.
whatever. I just want to make sure you know that. And he says, the worse it is, the better. So I take her through it. She sees all the inmates, both male and female, locked up. And then I said, okay. And I took her to a single cell in the medical area. And I said, I want you to experience this. Walk in there. You see the cot, that's where you sleep. Not much there, is there? You see the drinking fountain right on top of the stainless steel toilet? Yep, that's it. Now I'm going to shut the door. Try not to go wild on me. Click, shut the door. And she's
Yeah.
about 2 minutes later, I unlocked it, let her out. I says, now do you understand? Oh, she says, I really understand. And it worked.
Yeah.
And that was for a daughter of the militia.
Oh,
So, I mean, I tried to serve everybody, regardless of what walk of life you were from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I never thought about that with my daughter. I wish I would have. I
Right.
wish I would have. I lost my daughter to a fentanyl overdose.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So, Rick, served your 4 years as sheriff. What led you to that next stage of life to run for office? You ran for Michigan Rep first.
Yes.
What was we talked a little bit about dinner, but I want you to, for the audience out there,
Sure.
kind of give us that dynamic.
I was getting close to getting my 31 years in.
Okay.
And I certainly could have run for sheriff again and been successful, reelected, no
Right.
problem. But I had many, many people contacting me and saying, would you run for our state rep? We need somebody that, you know, we can talk to you,
Yeah.
just a regular kind of guy.
Yep.
that'll come have coffee with us. And would you go to the Capitol and do the best you can down there for us as our state rep? And they talked me into it. I said, yeah, I think I'd like to try that.
Yeah.
So I ran, and I easily got elected to state rep, served 3 2-year terms. That's all you were allowed. And then you were termed out.
Termed out, yeah.
And as it happened, the state Senate seat happened to come up the minute I was out of the state house. So I ran for the state Senate. You were allowed 2 4-year terms at the time.
Okay.
And I served those and enjoyed every bit of it.
Wow.
Now I'm just a supervisor of a township.
It's like,
It's a heavy hitter for a supervisor.
yeah, when I was thinking about that, when you said that during dinner, I was like, not on the same level, but it's like, all right, sheriff, state rep, senator, and now you're a township supervisor. It's like Adams, John Quincy Adams, or which one was it that became a Supreme Court justice later? No, he became a representative, the House of Representatives, after serving 1 term as president. He was 1-term president, and then became, I think it was John Quincy Adams, his son. Not John Adams, but John Quincy Adams. He was the one that did the case for the Amistad. Anyways, that's why I don't often tell those stories that pop into my head. But this is my brain. It's the way it works. But yeah, it's like, all right, now you're a township supervisor after all those accolades and serving all those places.
I don't believe in retirement.
Exactly.
I'm 73,
Yeah.
and I enjoy working. I get up every day at 5:30, and I say, how much fun can I have today?
You know,
Absolutely.
And I have to relate to that because this is my 43rd year behind the wheel. My specialty is heavy hauler,
Great.
multi-axle double trailer heavy hauling, and knock on wood, 3.5 million miles, no moving violations.
It's wonderful.
So everybody knows that. Yes, I've got burned out taillight tickets. I've got burned out identity light tickets, and maybe I had a cracked windshield, but I've never had a moving violation. Never had an accident.
In a semi
wonderful.
truck. You've had some moving violations. I know at home. I've talked to your wife.
Yes. So and I still get up every morning and look forward. Mostly, it doesn't mean I don't cuss at some of the drivers when I'm loaded heavy and in the right lane where they want me to drive, and they come from the left lane to get that exit that's 10 feet in front of my bumper.
Right.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I bet.
That's my and generally we're always blamed first.
There's whole law firms built on going after you guys, whether you were right or wrong.
Yeah.
And there is a heavy duty responsibility for the bigger vehicles. Obviously, there's a heavier responsibility, but we're not the ones letting in these illegals and just throwing licenses at them and having them kill people in the street.
Yeah.
You're a responsible driver,
Because Google told them to make a U-turn in the middle of an intersection.
I think they were using a map from India. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
So, Rick, back to you. Being a former sheriff, you go into the legislature. I want to talk about some gun rights dynamics. I don't know when that transpired there, but I also want to, I put in our notes tonight, your favorite legislation. You've served 14 years.
14 years.
6 as a rep, 8 as a senator.
Yes.
What's some of your favorite legislation, or a couple? I know you took some notes yourself. What's some of your favorite legislation that you were directly involved in or that you presented?
Sure.
I know a lot of times you have to have co-sponsors with you and stuff like that or things, but what's some of your favorite legislation that you've been able to bring to the Michigan Congress and implement it into law in your time serving? Or
Well,
at least put in the docket.
With 31 years of police work
Yeah.
and having been shot at twice and having dealt with all kinds of violence,
Yeah.
I developed a strong belief in you have the right to defend yourself.
And that's beautiful. As a sheriff.
And
Yeah.
I studied a case that everybody should look up.
Okay.
It happened in 1925, Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Dr. Ossian Sweet. He
We got to look that up.
Look it up.
Dr. Ossian Sweet, Ossian, I believe, was a African American doctor, became very successful.
Mm-hmm.
He moved his family to a new home.
Okay.
And a short time after doing that, the home was surrounded. It's reported by some sources that there were KKK members in the mob, and it was obvious they were going to harm him and maybe his family too. He defended himself, and he shot one person and he killed one person.
Right.
And Clarence Darrow came in and defended him. He was charged with murder.
Okay.
And he's completely exonerated. And from that day forward, it became known as a man's home is his castle.
Castle doctrine.
Castle doctrine.
And
Yeah.
so I had a wonderful experience when I put this legislation in. You have the right to defend yourself anywhere you legally can be if you're not committing a crime. In other words, it doesn't defend drug dealers shooting at each other.
Right.
Correct.
But you're in your car, you're in your home, you're walking down the street, somebody's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, somebody's trying to rape somebody. You have the right to defend yourself, period. It's in the law.
Yeah.
Why was this needed? Because there were judges at the time that said, well, that man kicked your door and he came in and you just shot him. Well, yes, sir, I thought he was going to kill me, and he was saying terrible things. Why didn't you just go back to your bedroom and call 911?
The people that say that,
That's what some judges believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, I brought up the story of Dr. Ozzie Sweet in 1925 Detroit, Michigan, and all of a sudden, I had people knocking on my door that never, ever wanted to sign on with one of my bills. I can remember one was Representative Virgil Smith, an African-American from Detroit. He says, I have never had so many African-Americans from Detroit tell me to get on your bill.
What's the statistic? Isn't it some of the largest amount of gun owners or something like that is in Detroit, in that general area? And I've ministered in churches throughout there, black churches throughout. I love the people down there, and the vast majority of them are armed, you know, because they have to be.
Yes.
I did pull up this article. I'm going to flash to it real quick while you keep talking, Rick, about this. But that's
yeah, I mean, when
Ozzie and Sweet.
When the judges talk like that and somebody kicks in your door, they show up, I'm assuming, with torches and cross or whatever
I
in
can
his
even
front
read,
yard.
as much as Wikipedia is CIA-pedia, it says he's known for being acquitted of murder in 1925 after he and his friends used armed self-defense. They were self-defense, a hostile white mob protesting Sweet moving into their neighborhood. It says that shots were fired and one man was killed, another wounded. Sweet and his wife and 9 associates at the house, including 2 brothers, were all arrested and charged. But at the first trial, the jury could not agree on verdicts, and the judge declared mistrial. But anyway, so this is the result of the Castle, or this is what came out of that as the Castle Doctrine. And
correct.
You're in the House of Representatives, or was this a Senate?
No, this is very early on in my
In the House of Reps?
state rep career.
And so you bring this in here, and then you have a whole bunch of people that you didn't expect just come into your door saying, we appreciate this, because they're being flooded by their constituents saying, listen, the right to self-defense, this is not, and I was going to, Larry, I don't know if you have it on hand, but I was trying to look up the Michigan Constitution, because Larry loves to read, when we do our normal Tuesday show, he loves to read the Second Amendment, and it's the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But the Michigan Constitution
is more clear. It's more clear.
Which is why I don't understand why we're not a constitutional carry state. We should be number 30,
100%.
right?
Well, according to the Constitution, we are.
Yes.
But
Right, but-
it's
but-
vague interpretation by what county you're in and the sheriff you're dealing with.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. But according to the Constitution, we are. But the Michigan Constitution, is it Article 5, I believe?
I'd have to check it.
Yeah, I'd have to check it too. Is the people have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves and the state. So I mean, it is so clear in the Michigan Constitution. So, but I mean, I think the second.
But I mean, the way we
Amendment is
handcuff
clear,
people
too.
just even traveling in your car and the way they want you to store it, all this other nonsense is ridiculous.
yeah.
We need an absolute constitutional carry that cements the language that's already there. There is no more vagueness gray to play in by any
No, there's
biased
not.
sheriffs on
Yeah.
one side or the other. It should be a absolute constitutional carry. I do not understand why Michigan wasn't
The
leading
only
the way.
objection I have to constitutional carry, and it's a traveling thing, right? I like having my CPL because if I go, when I load up the motorhome and me and the wife go to Florida, you know, I have a CPL. And
To travel to other
all
states,
those
yes,
states
have to honor that.
recognize
Yeah.
the CPL.
That's one dynamic.
So
yeah.
that's the only worry that I have, because if they stop issuing the gun permits, or excuse me, the CPLs,
Yeah.
you know, what do you do when you travel?
So they just reversed several Supreme Court cases that are now having to honor your constitutional carry from your state, not a permit no more.
Wow.
So that was from the great Trump administration, whether people like that or not, but he has done a lot
That's a
of good things
great
for
one.
Second
That's a
Amendment.
beautiful one.
If you look that up in the Supreme Court, there's
Okay.
been 5 that's been flipped over now. They now are the burden of truth lies back on the state, and whatever sheriff department or local has to have the burden of proof for that anymore. Before, they could harass you without your permit, and even still with your permit, they could still harass you.
Right.
So this
like
But
Virginia.
now with you produce your ID from your state and you have
Yes.
your firearm, you go like,
Yes.
dude, I
Yeah.
come from a constitutional carry state.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Perfect example is the state of Virginia. If you remember, was it Glenn Youngkin was the last governor?
Yep.
The governor before that, you know, the one that said abortion even after.
Yeah, you
Well,
could let
we
them sit on the
we
table
keep
and think
the baby
about it.
alive,
let him
and then we
think.
make
Yeah.
a determination.
All right, under
of whether-
his reign of terror in that state, they didn't recognize CPLs from other states.
Right.
So
Right.
if you were caught with a firearm in Virginia, you were just
Yeah.
going to jail, whether you had a CPL or not.
Now it's even worse, even though the DOJ, the temporary DOJ that's in there right now, Blanchett or whatever, Todd, right now they have a cease and desist on the 2 bills that she went ahead and signed.
Yeah.
So I know that right now that they have a cease and
it's a
desist
limit,
on that
Yeah,
because it's
so-
beyond, you know. The
Yeah,
pillars.
I don't know what the new governor has done. I know when I went through, when me and
Well, she's
my wife
trying.
went to Florida, yeah, I asked when I stopped about if, and they said, no, you're fine coming through. If you got CPL, you're fine. I didn't tell them I was armed. I just asked.
I'm not against, constitutional carry and all that, but I like the CPL system. I'll tell you why. You got that 8 hours of training, and
Yes.
people really need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm going to disagree and push back a little bit on that. I grew up since 7 years old with a firearm in my hand since my father. And the problem is we all have this idea that people need extra training. And it's always the excuse also when they go after police and they say, well, they need extra training because that, they're failing because of this.
It's not the safety handling a gun that I'm worried about.
I hate these stink bugs. dude.
It's not the safety of handling a gun. I agree with you. I mean, I was hunting at 12 and 14. I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about understanding the law to keep people out of trouble.
Yes.
How many people know that you can't be over .02 with a gun,
Right.
and you're going to jail?
Right.
A lot of people don't know that. That's
That's
the class.
mouthwash.
Yeah, well, the class teaches them things like that. How many people know you can't just walk into a bank with a gun?
And Rick,
know.
didn't we have when I was a kid, we had gun safety in our schools because half
Yes, we
the
did.
young men
Most
were,
people had gun racks out there. They did pheasant hunting after.
You
and-
bring your gun in the school because you didn't want to leave it in your truck because you didn't know how to fix the locks on your truck or whatever it is. But I see both your points. But I think to Larry always quoting the Second Amendment, that's where it says a well-regulated militia.
We've
Yeah, but
so
that's-
we've
that's
not
knocked out
I
the
know, but I'm
testosterone of
saying
our
is-
society to the point where
Correct.
we make it to where it's a taboo to own a gun, all these different things. So we set ourselves back centuries
But that's
with
what
our firearm understanding. But I want to bring this up because it really bothers me. So if you remember when the Ukraine war kicked off, everybody remembers when it kicked off. I want to go to that because all of a sudden civilians that have never touched a freaking firearm in their entire life were handed not just civilian firearms, they were handled actual assault rifles that had select fire on them and all them things.
Right.
And they want these people to just, we got to figure this out because we're at war.
Right.
Well, in our country, instead of maybe tabooing that, maybe we need to have the reality of bringing it back and saying, hey, we should have trap shooting. That's more and more of our high schools and things like that around. We should have mandatory gun training in our grade schools and things like that to teach them. I don't care if it's with the 22 and you're sitting across and you're learning how to squeeze off and trigger discipline and always understanding what's beyond your target. All those things. These are things that I was taught as a little kid. And I mean, all kids when I was growing up, most of them were like that. Now we have this idea that we have to lock them up, and if you see them, it's like the boogeyman, and it's actually made it
ridiculous.
worse. It's kind of like when you regulate drinking to a certain point. It gets to a point where then everybody wants to go and drink the way they do. Whereas Germany and other places where it's like
When it's open and the kids
Right.
can have a beer the size of whatever mug that they can
Right.
carry, they have a much better respect for it. So you're not actually proposing that we get rid of like DEI and a bunch of other garbage out of the schools and re-implement like archery and gun shooting?
Oh, you
in the
mean
schools?
us being ranked, in the bottom of the barrel in overall
you're actually
education,
proposing
41st
that
in
with a
basic standardized testing because
Yeah.
we're wasting on
Yeah.
DEI. Maybe you should do it on things like gun training and gun safety and understanding. And can your kids opt out? Absolutely.
Right.
I'm not going to push your kids in like they want to chop their wieners off and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to actually have a choice to learn something like that. But I think those are viable things that is America. That is a free America.
Correct, and that's what I was saying about pointing out the Second Amendment where it says a well-regulated militia. The fact that they put the language "well-regulated militia" right after the right of the people to keep and bear arms indicated that the society was a group of people that used firearms on a regular basis. That's their dynamic. They're
And
like,
when that doctor in
we don't need
Detroit-
to train you about weapons
Right.
in the Second Amendment. We need you just to be disciplined if you're going to be part of the next level, being part of a militia. So it was already ingrained in them. So I'm agreeing with you, and I'm agreeing with it's
Right.
like the training. You're coming at it from a dynamic of I think the concealed carry is good because it invokes the training, whereas you're saying the training should be day one automatic.
be day
and
one.
you can opt out if you want.
Yeah, if you-
but I mean, think of the one country that stayed neutral during 2 major world wars and handled all of the money for both sides of the conflict, Switzerland. They require all of their citizens to be firearm trained and own at least one weapon in there. And guess what? They don't get attacked, an isolated inland country with no waterways to them, up on a hill, and they handle everybody's money and nobody attacks them.
Yeah, and to his point, right? To his point, I mean, I'm ex-military,
What?
right? So I really didn't need any firearms training, right?
Yeah.
But when it came to the law, the instructor was very clear. You're sleeping. You're at home. You
Yeah.
hear somebody break into your garage.
Yeah.
They hop into your hot rod that you spent the last 30 years building. They start to steal it. You can't go out there and shoot them.
That's right.
You cannot go out there and shoot them.
You have
He
to
sa-
be
he
in
says
fear
You
of
have
your
to
life.
be in fear.
Yeah.
Now, if that garage door goes up and you happen to walk around and he turns the brake light or the reverse lights on to run you over,
Now you're in fear for your life.
now you're in fear for your life.
I know my instructor told me that he said, here's all you need, here's the phrase I want you to remember and repeat it, and this is the only thing you say until your lawyer shows up. I feared for my life, and I shot in self-defense. He said, you can reverse it. I shot in self-defense because I feared for my life. You don't say anything else until you get, because...
Let me throw another example to you.
Yeah, let's go
Maybe-
back to
maybe
you,
this
Rick,
will-
as the guest of the
Maybe
show.
this will help you. My 70-year-old sister never handled guns in her life. She was a nurse. Okay, now she lives in Kalamazoo, starting to get nervous about the
once
crime
Bible
rate.
Belt has gone downhill. Yeah.
And she says, I think I want to buy a gun. I said, okay. So we went out where we could shoot, and I showed her a semi-automatic. She didn't have the strength to rack it.
Right. So
I said, okay,
revolver, hammerless.
Let's
whatever.
try this with a revolver. Can you pull the trigger okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she could pull a trigger on a 38, do just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's get you signed up for a concealed pistol license course.
Yeah.
Because she knows nothing about what she can do legally and can't do.
Yes.
So she takes this course. It costs $80, and they threw in lunch. I thought it was pretty reasonable.
That's really
That's
good.
about what I paid.
That's really good.
And they had lunch.
And
If
She co-
people want to take a course, I'm all about it. The idea that like companies like the USCCA, okay, like their bread and butter is making sure that you have not only you took that course, but then you get that insurance to actually use your right. I mean, at what point do we not have enough hurdles? If you break the law, you broke the law. Whether you took the course, you didn't take the course, if you broke the law, if you ran out shooting at somebody, you know, and you're firing rounds that went and hit another house and all those other things, hey man, like the common sense factor has to also rule in there. Like, I understand when I shoot something or at something, I know what's behind it. I know exactly what's behind it. I'm thinking about that consciously all the time.
But would my sister know?
She may not, but that's what I'm saying. That should be a
Obviously
voluntary
she
course
would.
for her.
Right.
She can be recommended that or whatever, but the idea of someone like myself, and the reason
So you
why
don't
I'm
like
like
it
this,
just being a bear, not
I
the,
hate
the
it.
training dynamic, but just
I
being
hate
a bear.
it, and I'll
I
tell
can
you
feel your
why. I
passion.
was up in Sheboygan. I run vacation rentals in various places in the state of Michigan, and I was up on my property, and I was throwing something away in my dumpster, and I happened to be I have a drop down leg rig, and I'm on my property. Okay, this is my property, and when I put the things in the dumpster, my jacket that I had on had come and covered like it's about half of it.
Sure.
Okay? Well, the sheriff just so happened to be coming by on the road we're on, which is a very remote road, and my dumpster is like a good 15 feet away from the road for several reasons. You know, you don't want trash blowing out or whatever. You just don't, you know, or the people that run and try to dump stuff in your dumpster, things like that. Well, he actually stops and tells me, hey, you know, can you come over to the car? And immediately my head's like, I have my gun on me and I'm not going to your car, you know? And he goes, well, could you come over to the car? I said, you can come over to here. That's fine. I was like, I'm not coming over to your car. And he goes, well, you do know why I'm asking you to. I said, I'm thinking it has something to do with my firearm. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, because your coat covering it a little bit. He goes, I'm assuming you have your
CPL.
CPL. And I said, I do not. The drop-down rig I had comes, I mean, the bottom of the gun was almost to my knee. Okay, if you've seen any of the drop-down rigs. And I said, yeah, when I went to throw it away, he goes, well, yeah. I said, so basically, you're trying to argue with a statistic of my coat length
Yeah.
was the difference between legal and non-legal. And I'm like, that's ridiculous in an open carry state. And I'm on my property. So then he starts quoting something about 12-foot easement, something from the thing. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And first of all,
So
I'm
you're
even
just picking-
further than 12 feet. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, first of all, it doesn't make sense. So I make a call. I have a statey that I'm really good friends with because he leaves. And I said, you're welcome. You want to get a warrant or whatever and come back? I said, I'm more than welcome. I will stand at this fence. And you can come and talk to me, no problem, but I'm not coming to your car. So I call my buddy that's a statey. The first thing out of his mouth was like, good thing you didn't walk to his car. You know, and I'm like, well why? He goes, well, depending on the road and the township laws
15
there,
feet
it
easement
could,
and
it
stuff
could
like
be
that, yeah.
like an 8-foot or whatever easement.
Yeah.
He goes, depending on where it's at there, he goes, it actually could be less than that. He goes, but clearly your dumpster, if you're telling me it's like better than 15, and it is, it's better than 15 because the dump truck can come all the way in and pick it up and dump it and then put it back. And that whole dump truck fits on my property.
Right.
So it's like, it's probably even more than that. So I called him, I told him exactly what happened, and I told him the county, and he calls him back. And to my surprise, one of the deputies come back in the car, drives up to the thing, and I was waiting because I'm just like, hey, I'm not running on my property, I'm hiding from you or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, you know, apparently you made a call to, you know, state police. And I said, yeah. I said, I felt like I was like kind of being targeted, you know. Right. And I said, I'm on my own property. Nobody else was on the property at that time. And I'm like, I'm not playing this game of like, had I walked to him, you can cuff me and all these different, I'm not dealing with it. And he goes, well, he goes, you know, probably made the right call. He goes, you probably didn't make any friends in that aspect, but, you know, we're going to let it go. I said, well, that's great. I said, do I have any other problems, you know?
Yeah.
He goes, no. I said, so if I'm on my property, because this is going to happen again, I throw things away all the time. And I was like, I come out there and I throw something away. He goes, no, your dumpster's past the easement. I said, well, what is the easement? He goes, well, it all depends. I said, that's the same thing I got from my buddy that's a statey. So what is my easement? I just want to know my easement in case this ever comes up again, you know? And basically he wouldn't give me a straight answer and just said, hey, you know, have a nice day, whatever, and left. But they absolutely are going to make a big scene about that. And it bothers me because, like, here I am, a law-abiding citizen, never pointed my guns at another person, I've never had an intention of ever doing that. I hope that day never happens to me. I love collecting guns. I fire on my property. We have a berm. We have targets. We do all these different things. I like shooting, hobby sport, whatever.
It's a blast.
But it bothers me that there's an interpretation gray area, especially in Michigan, which if you read the state constitution, it's pretty.
I actually have it over here. It's Article 6. I think you said Article 5, Larry, and I couldn't remember. It's Article 6. Every person has the right to keep and bear arms for the defense of himself and the state. That's pretty clear.
That's as clear as it
I
can.
mean, that's not just the right to keep and bear arms. That's
And,
the right to,
I'll go one step further. My dumpster, because I'm in northern Michigan, it wouldn't be the first time I've walked up to my dumpster and a bear jumped out. So it's like, I'm actually going to my dumpster and a bear can come out of my dumpster.
hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for bears. Bears,
Yeah.
bears
And
will
I mean,
kill you.
the
It's right-
ones
it's right
at
there.
that property, unlike our other one, they're
Except for
smaller. They're almost like German Shepherd size. They must be young bears because the other property, I mean, are huge. I
Right.
pray to God we
You're
bumped
not
into
feeding them well
yeah.
enough on the
Yeah,
one
you got to
property.
carry a
just-
cannon.
But it's just like, either way, I'm just like, even, I got something, I mean, but
Isn't that part of the problem? Come back to you, Rick. Isn't that part of the problem that it's a dynamic of law-abiding citizens, right? We're the ones that get annoyed by the ticky-tacky little BS and the kind of the political pushback on that, whereas the criminals never abide by it in the first place, so they don't care.
Absolutely.
And so your legislation that you brought forth was along the lines of this castle doctrine. Explain a little bit more of the
Well,
legislation that you brought forth.
Remember the case of Dr. Ozzie and Sweet?
Yeah.
Now, was that a law? No, that was a judge's ruling.
Okay,
Right.
so we
that
need to
you
bring
have the right to defend yourself, but
Right.
it was
Right.
not in law.
Right.
So in later days,
Yeah,
you could have a judge say,
Yeah.
why didn't you go to your bedroom and call 911?
Right.
Right.
Why did you confront that man that had just broken
or
your
if
door?
you're in
of
New
your
Jersey,
own
they
door?
tell you jump out the window. They literally tell you have to evade from your own house.
So-
which is better than Canada that tells you to leave your keys in it and just let them loot your car.
So this legislation made sure you could defend yourself
Mm-hmm.
if you're in fear of death, great bodily harm, or rape. And I'll
That's
tell you,
beautiful.
I had a lot
There's
of
a lot of people coming across the aisle. It doesn't matter what political persuasion they were. They're just in support of that because of their
did.
constituency, not
I
because
did. Like I said earlier, I had this African American state rep,
Yeah,
Virgil Smith, came
Knocks
to
on
me.
your
He
door.
says, "I've never had so many African Americans from Detroit say you got to get with this Republican bill and get it passed.
100%.
We need it."
yeah.
And from then on, we were friends. I mean, we worked together,
That's amazing.
and
But that's what it's about. There
Yeah.
are things that unite the populace. There are things that become. I had a minister friend down in Detroit. They literally put the club on their car. They did all this stuff. They literally, somebody drove up with another vehicle and pushed the car away enough from the front of the church. This is parked in front of the church. This is the pastor's vehicle, and they pushed it in park over onto a side road with another vehicle, stripped it down. And I'm coming into church next morning. I'm like, "Hey, Bishop, how you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're trying to find out what happened with my car." And I'm like, dude, and these are other black people in their community. I did a basement job for a lady, and she was terrified. She had the bars on all the windows and doors and
Yep.
like that, and she's terrified. And she's like, "These other little black kids in the neighborhood will rob me blind if you're not watching." She had a kid that mowed her lawn for years, caught him in the house one day. She's like, "That's when I'm like, this is endemic of your community." And so when I understand that, when a black representative walks into your office and says, "My people want the right to self-defense," it's not because there's mobs. Now that case of Dr. Sweet, that was a bunch of white assholes.
Pretty sure
showing
they
up
weren't there
doing-
for a Bible study.
Correct. But a lot of times it's just in your community. We know the crime rate in Chicago is off the charts of violent gun crime rates in Chicago, and they have some of the strictest gun laws. So when a representative sees this in Detroit and says, "I got to get behind this because my people are behind this, because if we don't have the right to self-defense, our own community is gonna implode on itself if we don't have the
agree.
right to self-defense." That's
and I had some other experiences with people who were very liberal from the Democrat Party, and I introduced a bill saying that you could have a taser.
Okay.
If you had a CPL, you've been trained,
Yeah,
you
why
could
not
have a taser.
Right.
And taser actually makes a civilian taser.
Ooh, is it a little lower voltage?
A little bit, but it stays on for like 2 minutes.
Ooh.
So,
We got to get one of those and play with it, guys.
give you an
Who's first?
example.
No.
Say it was my sister. She's walking through a dark parking lot, and all of a sudden there's a guy there going to attack her. He's got a knife or whatever. She can pull that taser out, zap, drop it, and it continues to discharge for 2 minutes.
It pulses?
So she
So
can
she
run,
can escape.
She can run away.
Oh, wow.
So I had some very liberal Democrats say, oh, there'll be people dying of heart attacks. All sorts of horrible stuff will happen. So I said, okay, next week at the committee, I will be tasered. So I was tasered. I had no idea. I thought maybe the local paper could cover it. It was on the, it was on the
national.
Today Show. It
Oh,
was
hell
national
yeah.
news. You can still watch it on YouTube.
As a senator, you got tased?
Actually, yes.
As a rep.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had.
I bet nobody's done that.
I had the local. Nobody has. So local sheriff shows up with his training officer, and a representative Taser from Taser was there, and he didn't want to.
This it right here? Oh, no, that's
That's it.
Yeah.
Right there.
During
Yeah.
committee.
Let's see if this will
Awesome.
play.
So what he's doing is he's hooking up alligator clips, so instead of just shooting.
He put alligator clips on my back instead of shooting the darts because he was afraid they might miss me and hit some innocent person.
Okay.
And I want to thank Sheriff Mike Graves and his
It's
training
not
officer,
switching my
John
screens
Ingram,
for some reason.
for
But if
assisting
you guys
me
can see it
on
behind
the
us.
lawn and breaking the nose.
We have the young lady move to the left a little bit, please.
It's probably not the first time you were ever tased either, was it?
It actually was,
Oh, was it?
because I became sheriff when they were finally brought into my department and given to
Okay.
deputies.
You guys
Here
can
we
see
go.
that. Here we go. And this is it go off for the 2 minutes? Oh no, that was the
I now have completed my training.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, man. Hey, that is awesome. You got some balls, man.
dude.
So,
Just to get that passed, just to
so
bring that into
all of the liberals that were there watching it
yeah.
said, "That's great."
We'll do that.
And one lady says, "Well, when I zap him and he's down on the ground, flopping around,
Yeah.
can I kick him in the groin before I run away?"
You're like, that's the first thought you have? This has saved your life, and now you want to.
The fact that you took the tase and just kept going with your dialogue was awesome.
Took the taser. Because that's supposed to knock you down, right? Did they lower it for you? Did they do? That's
No,
supposed to knock you down.
no, it did not. They didn't lower anything for me. This was a full
Wow.
shot. But you probably couldn't see it very well. The sheriff was holding one arm, the training officer the other
Holding
arm,
you up.
so I wouldn't fall on my face
Yeah.
and break my nose or something.
Right.
Okay.
And they can do that because the electricity doesn't go through them. It only goes
Right.
through the person.
Because it's 2 electrodes.
It's 2 darts
Yeah.
normally going into your back.
You're
In this
closed
case, they use
circuit.
alligator clips because they didn't want to hit, accidentally
Oh.
hit some innocent person in the crowd or something.
Right. Well, they
I
made
feel
that
like
one
those
lady
little
move.
alligator clips wouldn't feel very good either.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Now,
didn't.
Did you have
It was bad.
in the sheriff's department, 31 years? Did you have experience having to tase different people? I'm sure, because you didn't draw your firearm, right? But
I didn't see, when I was a deputy on the street, you didn't have a taser.
Okay.
You didn't have pepper spray. You had your hands, you had a gun,
and you had your
you
mind.
had your brain,
Right.
you had to talk people down.
Okay. Okay. Because I know for a while there, some of the issues that they had with the tasers was not the tasers on themselves, was that they made the tasers so similar in the handles that there was one incident with a lady.
Oh, that was
where
out west.
Yeah, she pulled her
Yeah.
service arms. That was her defense, was
Yeah.
that the handles were so similar. So there is a dynamic of you know, you've got this. So I was just curious.
Well-
The first time you dealt with a taser is when you're getting tased on the floor of
Yes, yes. Now, all of my deputies, if they wanted to carry one, they had to get zapped too.
Right, I know
Just so
that
they
that is
understood.
that is part of training.
And
now.
it's interesting to watch because I can tell you what you want to say. You want to say the S word or the F word. I mean, you're going, and you want to scream it out.
Oh,
we drop F-bombs here.
They warned me ahead of time that that's what I would say.
Probably say.
I said, no, I won't. No, I won't. I won't say it. I'm on TV. I won't say it.
dude, you literally went from the same dialogue you started with, and
Dude.
as soon as you were done, you walked right out of it. And
went,
started, I mean,
My
that was
training
awesome.
is my training is not complete. It's like, holy
That was awesome.
dude, there would have been a puddle and some F-bombs being dropped. Like, whoa.
I just think on that
You're the
floor.
man, Rick.
Yeah,
I can't
on
take
that
it,
floor,
dude.
I've never seen all of them. I look at a lot of them as like stuffed shirts, and for you to do that,
That's
that is
beast mode, man.
awesome.
Beast mode.
And since you brought it up, you don't urinate on yourself.
No?
You can't physically do it while you're being zapped because every muscle
Oh, because it
Thank God.
tenses.
is tense.
God.
Okay.
Now, what usually happens is
It's after
somebody
you're
gets
done.
zapped, and after the electricity is gone, then they do it.
So there's no angry taser.
So if we're gonna
pissing,
do it on the
but
show, I gotta wear a
after-
diaper before they shoot me.
No, I'm doing a close-up. One of the cameras is going to be a close-up on your crotch. I want, as soon as the taser goes off and you relax, I want that
Oh, oh,
This guy takes full taser
That's-
and then just goes, my training's done. Well done,
dude,
young Padawan.
that is awesome.
Holy shit, dude. Rick, you're
Seriously,
badass.
that is
I love it.
awesome.
Dude. And this was, 12 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, not too many years
So
ago.
you're in your 60s, right? You're 73 now, so
73
you're just
now.
maybe late 50s, early 60s? You'd have been 61 if it was 12 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
That is
Dude, that's
awesome.
a constitution. Dude.
Life
That's
goals
hardcore.
for 60.
Holy dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't drop F-bombs, doesn't piss himself, stays standing, and then continues his
Continues the
dialogue.
dialogue on the
Dude,
button.
You're a beast.
Oh man.
Tell us any more you want on the guns rights, but then I want to touch on some of the other legislation
Yeah.
that you've brought in.
I think we've done a lot of the stuff on the gun rights. Another thing that got national news was I had a National Guardsman that was divorced from his wife,
Okay.
and he had 50-50 custody of his 10-year-old son.
I remember this one during dinner. Yes, this is
He was called up and sent to Iraq, where he served. While he was there, he did everything a father could do. He made occasional phone calls home to talk to his son.
right.
He made sure there was child payments, made sure everything was done right.
How old was the child? Do you remember?
10 years old.
Okay.
So he returns, and the Ingham County friend of the court calls him in and says, "We have taken away all of your rights because you have abandoned your child." Oh my gosh. He came into my office in tears,
Yeah.
and I said, "Calm down. I'm going to fix this.
Let's figure it out.
You got to give me some time. This doesn't happen overnight. I mean, we're talking some time. It
Right.
might be 6 months, but I am going to fix this."
Was this the first time it popped on your radar? This
Oh,
this
yes.
dynamic?
This man
But you-
walking into my office.
But as soon as you heard his story, you dropped into.
I knew this was something
Yeah.
that I could get past.
Yeah.
So I called a reporter from the Lansing State Journal, and I said, "I'd like to give you an exclusive. I'm going to tell you about this, and you're going to have national news tomorrow because everybody's going to pick this up."
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, yeah, right, Rick." So I gave her the story, and she said, "Oh, my
Oh
God.
yeah. Right, Rick.
I
Okay.
think you're right." The next day, it made national news.
As
Yeah.
it should.
Now, who was going to vote against that?
No. Yeah.
Unanimous vote, Republican, Democrat, Independent, everybody voted for that bill.
Unanimous.
And
Hell yeah.
and from that day forward,
Yeah.
a serviceman or servicewoman, I actually brought in a woman who they were trying to take rights away.
Oh, wow.
She
Okay.
was called up to serve in Texas, and they wanted to take her rights away.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So from
So
that,
what's the exact language of the bill? It's that a service man or woman, military service, but also auxiliary, because we got a lot of National Guard
if you're called up to serve your
to serve your country.
military service,
Okay. In any way, shape, or form.
your your rights
Cannot
cannot be taken away.
Wow.
It seems like common
custody.
sense.
It's
So
a-
up
but-
until then, what
Yeah.
year was that when that went?
I'd have
Just guessing.
I'd have to do some checking. That had to be. Oh goodness, it could have been 2008 maybe.
Isn't that crazy? That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was still going on. I
Well,
just
even when you brought up the gun rights dynamics, it's amazing to me when we look at the map. There's a whole map of states that have gone to constitutional
Yeah.
carry, as well as those that have instituted CPLs and stuff like that. That even like 30 years ago, none of that was in place. But now I think it's up to 31 states. Have
It's
gone
29.
To, 29 states.
Yeah, we
have
should
gone
be
to
number 30.
constitutional- And it's like. You think about that and you think this should be common sense. But as soon as that guy walked into your office, I'm sure he was broken. I'm sure a 10-year-old boy, that's formative years. He wants to be a father figure to him. He's out there serving his country. He's called up. He probably, because he was enlisted, he didn't have a choice to defer that or anything like that. But he's going to go and serve because
He's in
that's
the
his honor.
National Guard. He had no
National Guard.
choice.
He had no choice. So his son's there. He's already dealing with a situation with a broken home. And so he wants to be there as much as he can for his child. He's got 50-50 custody. He goes away, come back, and he's destroyed and devastated. And he walks into your office, and you stepped into action. That's the type of representation that we
And
have
a lot
to
of people would say, "Why did you go to the media?" Because I knew
because you knew.
once
Oh,
it
yeah.
got in the media, nobody would ever vote
No.
against it.
no, that's a brilliant call for that one. That's an easy.
The last one I was going to talk about is a real tough subject, but we're all adults here on this podcast.
He's getting the wave of it. I like
We
that.
had a doctor in the Detroit area who mutilated genital mutilation of over 200 girls.
Remember this.
This
This was
infuriates me as a father.
Yeah.
of a
It
daughter.
got into federal court, and
Yeah.
a judge actually said every state needs to write a stronger law.
Yeah.
This federal law is just not strong enough.
So this, I remember this doctor, but he's the one. He's not performing like surgeries. They're literally doing what they call a female circumcision, where they remove the ability of a female to have orgasm or to feel sensations during sexual intercourse, in order to
Control them.
to control and deprive that. And so it is to the truest sense. There is no other reason than to mutilate and to control.
Absolutely.
And this guy, I remember he was brought up on this, where
To
they
be-
just take these girls in and you've got nothing.
This was, there's many cases of this, by the way. And to be totally, again, we're all
ahead.
adults here in this
Go ahead.
podcast. They are cutting off the clitoris
Yes,
so there can't be any sensation the rest of their life.
yes.
And in some countries, it's done with a jagged piece of glass.
Yep.
In other countries, there's actually a surgeon using a knife
Yep.
and puts them under. But I tell you, it's a
But the
terrible,
end
terrible
result
thing.
Isn't it horrible we have to discuss stuff like this?
And
And it's not a, it's, I mean, it's what's going on.
Yes.
so we got it passed, and I get a call from an international organization that's fighting this all over the world.
They're fighting the mutilation.
Female genital mutilation.
Yeah, because there's no other purpose than
They,
to remove.
they said, yes, there is no purpose.
There's no other purpose.
So they said, would you go to Oxford University in London, England, and speak about this? And I said, well, how much is it going to cost? They said, we'll pay if you'll go.
Wow.
I said, okay. So I went over there, and the number one question was, how did you get it passed? I said, what do you mean? It wasn't hard to pass. They said they've tried to pass it in Maine and Massachusetts and Minnesota, tried to pass it all over the country, and they couldn't get it passed. How did you get it passed? And I said, because I didn't make it against the Muslims. And the reason is, and everybody needs to understand this, this violates the creed of both the Sunni and the Shiite, they don't believe in desecrating the human body.
Yeah.
This would anger their leadership. This was an offshoot,
So you didn't alienate them.
a sect that
Yeah.
said, we want to control women.
Right.
And there are Christian groups that have done it right here in the United States. There's a tiny Jewish group that did it in Africa.
Yep.
It is done all over the world.
It's horrible when you hear
And-
reports of it throughout the world. You're like,
and-
what?
And so we made it a 15-year felony. Now, I wanted to make it 3 times that, but
We don't have the death
everything-
penalty in Michigan anymore. so,
everything
yeah.
everything is, you compromise to get
Yes.
things passed.
Right.
So that's what I
But
could
15
get.
years, is it 15 years per?
Yes, 15 years.
So
in
that
prison.
doctor is life.
Also, if it is a medical person assisting, whether it be a nurse, doctor, whatever,
License gone, done.
no more medical license
Good.
ever,
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah.
And I think I had 2 votes against it.
2 votes against it.
People
Yeah.
voted against it too.
I
Did they
don't.
vote against it in language, or they vote against it in because they were
I
whack
don't.
jobs that were
I
horrible?
don't think they completely understood the devastation and the pain and the horror.
Until you lay it out as we've had to on the podcast tonight, until you lay it out for somebody, they don't understand the full dimension of what it is. There is no other reason for this other than to mutilate a woman's body so that she cannot have pleasure during sex, so she can be used and not. It's like, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure the men here at the table, we get more enjoyment out of sex when our spouses are satisfied, for lack of a better term. So to have a whole group of people that want to remove that dynamic just shows you how depraved
evil.
and evil they are. It's like, wait a minute. When my wife's happy, I'm even more happy. It's like, dude, are you serious? You want to deprive? What is wrong with you?
I wish we could add on that bill, like anyone that was, a party to it, get their stuff removed.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Would never stand the
I'll,
Constitution.
I'll
but it would
gladly,
be nice.
I'll gladly do that,
Well,
that surgery for
let
free.
the punishment fit the
Oh.
crime.
So when you served in the Republican House of Representatives and in the Senate of this state, did you enjoy a Republican majority all the time or most of the time?
No. For 4 years, I was in minority, and I didn't get much passed during those years.
Was that under Granholm?
It was.
Oh, God.
And but I still got the best numbers of anybody, even though
Did you know my representative, Chris Ward?
Oh yes. Yes.
Me and him had it out. He voted for Granholm tax increase. He was the deciding vote.
I still have. I don't want to be crass. This has been a great show, but I still have her quarter here to hire a rat. I know that.
I think she had it. I think she did that.
Did she do that?
I think she did
Good
that.
job. Good job. Rick, so those are your 3 favorite legislations. I absolutely love those. What have you really learned overall, sheriff life? You got 2 kids?
I have 2 children.
Hey, grandchildren?
I have 1 grandchild.
Okay. All right. Very good.
I also have 1 is special needs.
Okay.
My son was born and his blood wasn't working correctly. He had
Okay.
to have 3 transfusions to keep his life, and he's special needs. So I've had a great deal of working with the special needs communities out there.
Okay.
And,
Wow.
I've
and
done
That's
12 polar
commendable to do all
12
that.
polar plunges to
To raise money for-
Wow.
for Special Olympics.
Well,
That
if you,
adds a
if you
whole-
can be tased, what the heck?
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
polar plunge ain't nothing.
Plunge ain't nothing. Yeah. So that adds a huge other dynamic, knowing that you had a special needs child, because they're 24/7 a
Yeah.
lot of times. Yeah. And so commend you and your wife. Obviously, you're out there serving as sheriff. You're doing that, and then you're serving as rep. You're doing your sheriff's work on a nothing salary with a special needs child. That's a testimony in and of itself. I mean, that's phenomenal. But it's not because you're not a hero or you would consider yourself a hero. that was what was presented to you, and you said, okay, Lord, I'll handle it. I need your strength, but I'm going to do this.
I wanted to serve.
Yeah.
I mean, after having that experience at the restaurant where I had been robbed, where I'd had counterfeit money given to me, where
Yeah.
I'd had shoplifters, I'd had people fighting in the lobby,
Right.
I made a decision. This is the career I want, and I had to sit my wife down before we got married. And I said, I want to make sure you understand. I won't be here on holidays. I won't be here on birthdays. I can't just take days off. If
Right.
I'm assigned to work, I have to work
Yep.
Christmas. I have to work Easter. I have to work Thanksgiving.
Right.
And she says, that's okay. I can live with that.
See, that's a phenomenal woman. Yeah.
52 years?
52
in there?
years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then to have a special needs child,
It's incredible.
and for you guys to have that longevity, to be dedicated to each other, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, especially in this day and age.
I'm working on 27 years this year.
Thank you, Larry.
Nice.
27.
Nice.
I hope I get to live long enough to.
Dude, that's awesome. So in all of that dynamic, what's some of the most profound life lessons, Rick, that you've learned in all of these areas in your life? Home life, service. What are some things either that you've learned or that have guided you and proved to be of good fruit from the tree of your life? 73?
I'm 73 now, yes.
Yeah.
I guess
A lot of times we don't stop and reflect back and look at those things until you're sitting here and somebody like me pushes on you and says, what's an actual life lesson? Because you're living it, so you don't always think about it to articulate it in a meme or a phrase, but it's how you live your life. And that's what I'm trying to tap into is what have you learned when you stop it for a minute? Because guys like us, we never slow down, we never stop, we're always working, we're always moving towards something. But when you do reflect, what are some of the big life lessons?
big life lesson is you need to find God and have Jesus in your life.
Amen.
100%.
And if you don't, and that's nothing against somebody who has a different faith. I'm personal friends with many Sikh people.
Okay.
I've spoken to the statewide Hindu organization, to I think it was 3,000 people in Novi, and I respect everybody's right to believe the way they believe it. But the
Jesus
first
Christ,
day when I came home, a man had shot at me with a shotgun. I had a routine call. I pulled up to the house, and they said, this man called and said, we think he was saying somebody broke into his house. It's okay, routine call. Pull up, he comes out with a shotgun, points it at my nose through the windshield, and says, I'm going to count to 3 and kill you. 1, 2. Now I got half a second to do something.
Right.
I thought about trying to draw, at that time, my .38 revolver and shooting through the windshield, but I knew that the round would be diverted and I would never hit the guy with the gun.
Right.
So I ducked and I threw my Chevy into reverse and I backed up and I hear this bang.
Oh my goodness.
Later on, found out that he'd hit the light on top of the car. I then backed it out in the road. I get behind the car and I hear another bang. I don't really know where that was pointed at. So I'm screaming at him, put it down and everything, and calling for backup. And we surrounded it, and finally, he put it down. We were able to arrest him without harming him or him harming anybody else.
Wow.
And what it was, he was a special needs individual.
Okay.
And he was like young 20s.
And he got agitated or something, set him off?
No, the neighbor decided he was going to teach him how to rabbit hunt.
Ooh.
Took him out with a shotgun.
What?
But the problem is he didn't take the shotgun back into his house. He says, well, go ahead and keep it. You can clean it.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
So now he worked at a restaurant washing dishes. He had a little job, and on the way home, he got a 6-pack of beer, drank that, and then he started thinking, I somebody's trying to get into my house, bad men. So I got in front of the judge, and the judge was going to put this poor 20-something-year-old man in prison where he wouldn't have survived.
Yeah.
And I said, Your Honor, this man needs to be put in a home that he can never leave and where he has 24 hours of observation.
Right.
And there's no reason to put him in prison. He'll
Yeah.
never do this again as long as he's controlled, has a proper environment. The judge told his attorney, I'm only doing this because of what this deputy just said.
Wow.
He said, I was going to send him to prison.
And that's amazing. I'll ask you a question on that, Rick. Being in the sheriff's department, serving in there, we know there was abuses, huge abuses for a lot of years. But just in that case alone, how much did you see an actual need for mental institutions that we've gotten rid of? They've been minimalized, they've been gotten rid of, and everybody's just straight up incarcerated or they're turned back on the streets with these mental deficiencies.
Right.
When we used to have these large asylums for people that struggled for one reason or another, we had these huge mental institutions. They weren't perfect, obviously, but we had this dynamic and this ability to at least people, not straight up making them a criminal, but put them in a place where they could get help. Now, I don't like them being drugged out, and I don't like them being abused, all that. I get that. Your time as sheriff in the sheriff's department, but then also in the legislature, how much have you seen that is something, for better or worse, that could be much more effective, as in this case where you said, put him in a home. We don't have enough homes anymore.
Well, there are homes for special needs people. There are usually 6 or 8 people to a home.
Yeah.
There are those type of homes. You're
Yeah.
talking about a big
The biggest-
mental hospital.
Right, which had their abuses.
Well,
They
let
had
me
a lot-
give you a little history on that.
Go ahead, thank you.
Okay, a lot of people blame Governor Engler, but I want to remind everybody that it was the liberals that said, oh, we shouldn't lock people up, we should mainstream them. Mainstreaming was a popular word. They should be out with everybody else. And you know, maybe they need some sort of medication, but they should be out with everybody else. That was a big. So Governor Engler had a budget issue, and then he's got all of these folks on the other side of the aisle saying, mainstream them, let them out.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They
them
said,
out.
okay, close
Let
the
'em out.
hospitals. I don't believe all of the hospitals should be closed. I think there are some people that need to be locked down.
Yeah.
I certainly want to try everything we can before that happens. I mean, medications and things. Some people, whether they're schizophrenic or they're bipolar, as long as they're taking their medication, they're just fine.
Yeah.
They're just fine. But the minute they get off of it, they
And
go in
that's
the
where we
wrong
have a little bit of
direction.
but even that, you talked a little bit about the community dynamics of, you've alluded to that, even with the gun rights, where you had representatives walk in and saying, my constituents are coming to me saying, I got to partner with you on this Republican bill, and I wouldn't normally do this. But it's this dynamic of, we don't have enough community connections to where we're policing our own, to where we're, and I don't even like to use the word policing, but that's the dynamic of, to where we're keeping track of our own, to where you've talked about it a little bit about de-escalation, using your brain, to de-escalate situations as a sheriff's deputy and then as the sheriff. And these are dynamics that are, I think, is not at the forefront of the discussion, but these are some of the most prominent things that have been lost in the dynamic of the country, as we've lost the sense of community, to where if this kid is getting out of line, one of the moms in the community is going to swat him on the ass and tell him to go home, and they're going to know, I better go home. We had these communities that tended to police themselves. Not perfect, obviously, but they tended to police themselves to where we didn't have to have this nanny state that we have, that it's ineffective and useless a lot of times. We had these institutions, mental institutions that weren't perfect, but at least they facilitated an opportunity for somebody to do this. Now we just throw them in jails, and other than the sheriffs and a few other things, half the time these other jails are owned by private corporations, and so they're they're,
Well, they don't even throw them in jail anymore. And I mean,
or what you're saying, turn them back on the street.
Yeah,
What do you call that program? The
Well, at the time, they called it mainstreaming.
mainstreaming.
You
yeah.
know, we
Yeah.
shouldn't put a person in a mental hospital. We should get them on the proper medication and put them back out in the community.
But that requires
and
them
of
to
course,
take their medication.
pharmaceutical companies love that idea.
Right.
I
which
mean,
the
it's a
inserts say-
nonstop thing.
Which the insert for the drug says it might cause the same things that the drug is supposed to combat. What were you going
The,
to say?
the only problem
Elaborate
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit
Yeah.
because literally everything we spend taxes on is abused. I mean, at this point in our country, everything we spend our taxes that are supposed to go to.
Yeah,
don't
there's
go to
abuse
it.
and
So
fraud and everything, except
the
for his
idea,
salary when he was serving as
right,
deputy.
right. But the idea of the mental institutions coming back, even some of the ones that are, they're not the mental institutions that we remember, but they're still institutionalized
Mm-hmm.
care. There's, from 2015 up to current, there's
Yeah.
multiple abusing cases.
100%.
Hundreds of thousands of them.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people forget that even the ones that used to be here, like the Plymouth one or whatever, or not
That's
or
big,
Northville one, where
yeah.
they used to go in the tunnels and people used to go in there.
Yeah.
Well, I think people forget like the amount of abuse that was going on in there, as well as like some testing things that were going on and allegations. I want to see something, but I think the problem is if we bring anything back, it's going to be another laundering scheme of our tax dollars. I don't think any of those people are going to get
Yeah.
any of the care they're supposed to. I think it's just going to be more of the same, and it's going to be another, like what we had, 5,000 invisible made-up jobs or something that we had in the state of Michigan.
At least.
Or whatever, and,
Yeah.
and we made a deal in the budget and cut the budget by just eliminating the jobs that were never
Right.
there. But that's the problem we're at right now. Like we have a mental crisis problem in our country. We do.
Yes.
But we also created some of that with kids, hey, he's got ADHD from 5 years old to now. We're going to keep regulating him with his
Yeah, with the Ritalin.
medication,
Now
and
he's
then we're going to
crushed
get
the Ritalin,
Adderall, and then we're
snorted
going
it, yeah.
and it's
The Adderall, yeah.
you've
that's what it is.
destroyed kids, and then you create these problems, and of course they have the solutions, and of course now we want to go back and put them in these institutions again.
Right.
And again, my problem is what is going to be the checks and balances that actually keeps it going to what it should, and like an honest transparency of like
Well,
what's really going to
Okay,
keep that.
let me give you an example. I think is a little bit similar. I'm a guardian conservator for a man with brain damage.
Right.
When he was 17, he was in a very small car, and a semi-truck ran over the car, and he had horrible brain damage. He was in a coma for 3 days, and his mother and father tried to keep him at home, but he got more and more violent and trying to find relief in drugs and things, and he needed to be somewhere where he would get care.
24/7 care.
It,
Yeah.
it went through a court case, and it was determined that yes, he did need to be somewhere. He started out in a facility called Eisenhower in Ann Arbor. Now this man that I'm his guardian, he's up in Carroll in a place called Lighthouse. And they deal.
I love Carroll Lighthouse. I
They-
have friends that live in Carroll. I lived in Carroll.
Okay, they
Years
deal
ago.
deal with all kinds of brain problems. This man is high functioning. In
Right.
some things, he can go out and mow the lawn and make extra money to spend.
Yeah.
He can do things like that. He can go on outings and things. But if he was alone, I don't think he'd last a month. He wouldn't have it. He has no control over spending.
Right.
I have to give him
Right.
You got to give him an
I
allowance.
initially gave him an allowance once a month. It would be gone in 3 days. So then
Yeah.
I had to make it so much a week. And of course, I take care of any of the medical bills or anything that come up. And,
Right. Right.
And he's doing pretty good.
So he's highly functioning, but he needs your supervision there.
He needs supervision from the lighthouse
Yeah.
to make sure that he doesn't get into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamics. That's and I appreciate James pointing that out. That's the dynamics I'm talking about. Is we're not talking about bringing back those old institutions.
Yeah,
What
I
I'm
mean, I
talking about-
agree with his thing
Well,
because it's like
yeah.
it's that one is far more intricate and it's in detail of understanding, and there's an actual like court case there, and we have a decree for it.
Right.
One thing I forgot to add is 4 times a year I take him in front of a special doctor that determines he needs to stay in.
Okay.
Okay.
He looks
And
at
that's
all. He looks at all of his records. So
Right, does an
I
assessment.
mean, he just doesn't stay in there on my word.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the facility's word. A separate doctor determines this man needs to stay
Right.
in a facility. Can't be out on his own because everything will go to hell.
And I like this. Listening to just having met you for the first time tonight, broke bread with you, well, pasta and ham.
That was good, dude.
Was that good?
That was good.
Dude, I threw it. I was like,
was
I looked up a
sleeper
couple
good.
recipe. I was like, dude, I'll throw it together. I love it when a plan works out. I'm like Hannibal. But just having met you and listening to your testimony, I love this about you because you're, as much as you may or may not realize it, you're the exception to the rule. A lot of people that look to abuse power or to, have a sheriff roll up on somebody and want to antagonize. It's like, dude, go arrest the guys that are actually, it's why you roll up on me because my coat drops down over my gun.
But I don't think we have the integrity that we used to have. 52 years of marriage and a special needs son within 52 years. As you know, a special needs child, most marriages on a
They
very
break on
they,
that.
they break.
They break
it's
on that.
shattering. So
They break
you
over
have
money, let alone a child that demands that
and,
much care.
and to be willing to take a taser.
Dude, and then keep talking
yes.
afterwards without pissing yourself.
Just
I
we don't
love-
have that anymore.
But I'm looking at this and you advocating for a guy who shoots and could have killed you in that moment. Took 2 shots, and then you stand up in court and change the judge's mind and advocate for him. Says volumes about who you are as an individual, that you care about the individual person. And so you have, I just see this testimony of God on you, that you've been the greatest advocate for your community, no matter where you served, and you understood the hearts and minds. And that's why I'm asking some of these questions of you.
That's right.
Is to say, what have you really learned in these dynamics? And I'm hearing, not necessarily a bullet point that I can say what you've learned, but I'm hearing in your words, what you've learned is that you have to care for your fellow individual.
Well, he has
and
actual empathy, but
Yeah.
not toxic empathy.
And you have
not
to-
a point of
you're
giving
willing to
excuses
do-
to a real criminal.
You're willing to do. The militia guy says, "Hey, will you take my kid on a scared straight and walk her through the jail and pop her into a cell and do this?" And you're like, "Yeah, absolutely." But you realize it's pretty intense. And he goes, "Yeah, I got it scared straight." And you do that, and so you are the type of sheriff, representative, senator, advocate for our community that I want out of every single one. And I think our disappointment sometimes is we're not getting your level of integrity that I'm seeing, and we don't praise or platform or share that story enough for those, because you're not seeking it, but you've done it. You've done the work. You were there. You robbed, messed with in a little diner that meant nothing, but somebody threatened your life at some point in there. Wife of 52 years, special needs kids, and you're standing there and you're serving, and I'm listening to this dynamic, and you're the type of person that I want to hear your perspective on life issues and what's going on, because it's balanced. You took into account a guy shooting a shotgun saying, "I'm going to kill you in 3 seconds." You took the time to not be pissed off about the situation and going, "That guy could have killed me, and that I'm going to make sure he goes away for life." You stepped back and you went, "All right, Lord."
I mean, you could have
What
hit
is-
drive. You could have ran him over,
Right,
you know.
but
If you
Yeah,
wanted
I
to.
could've.
You stepped back and you said, "Lord, what was he dealing with? What was going on in his life?" That's a rarity. We very rarely in this country anymore today put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Our founding fathers embodied that, putting themselves in somebody else's shoes, and said, "How would I feel if I was in that situation?" Okay, we're going to write we're going to put together the Bill of Rights immediately after this new Constitution is signed. We had the Articles of Confederation up until that point, and they said, "We're going to institute these things so that we have safeguards. We're going to institute this Constitution." And I love your testimony, and I appreciate so much you sharing just a tip of the iceberg of your experiences. Is there anything else that you've learned, Rick, in your 73 years in all of these different areas that has been profound to you, or shaped that dynamic of going, I got to take a step back and I got to see what that guy was going through before I make a judgment call?
I think that at some point in your life, you need to find God,
Absolutely.
and in my case, accept Jesus Christ as my Savior.
When was that? When was
That was the morning I went home. I was working midnights
Mhm.
after I'd been shot at the first time.
Shot at while working at?
And I'm looking at the ceiling because I can't sleep.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
And I
You said, all right, Lord.
found God at that point
Yeah.
in a very serious fashion.
Give a little bit more details. You were shot at. You're shot at the restaurant. You're working the diner
No,
still.
no.
Oh no, this was the car.
This was
The shotgun?
The 24, 25-year-old that went up, pointed
Yeah,
the
the
shotgun
shotgun,
at me
okay.
through the
So
windshield.
that's the moment.
Said, "I'm going to count to 3 and kill you."
So were you at least a churchgoer or
Yes.
attending, but you didn't have that epiphany of that personal relationship dynamic
I hadn't totally made the hurdle.
and surrendered and said,
Yes.
Jesus, take the wheel, because
Correct.
good God, you saved me.
And once
Once you did that.
I found God, later on,
Yeah.
I had a pastor tap me in the shoulder and said, the women of the church said, when I need a day off, that Rick Jones would do the sermon. And so I got some training
Oh,
and
see, this is another dynamic.
did some sermons
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
awesome.
for years.
Beautiful. Do you remember what your first one was?
My first sermon?
Your first sermon. Well, give me the most profound one that you felt was the most impactful on the people listening.
I did many different. I was a topical guy, you know, and I wanted to do different topics. Well, I knew people that had lost their home to gambling,
Okay.
and so I did a whole sermon about the evils of gambling. And I told them, you know, I don't have a problem with you going to the casino and having some fun.
Right.
But what you need to do is put the cash in your wallet that you can afford to lose.
Correct.
And never, ever go to a machine or a window and draw more money out.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so if you could afford to lose $50, that's all you take in there.
That's exactly.
Turn it
how-
on, Larry.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn it back.
Turn it back on, Larry.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it. I have a message for you from a lady named Alicia Urbane.
Okay.
She says, "Tell Senator Jones I said hi. We worked together a lot in the past, and I wrote the Castle Doctrine bill for him when he passed it."
Yes.
Do you remember that name?
I certainly do. She is a fine attorney. You see, bills have to be put in legalese.
Yes.
Now, most people that go and get elected, there's no way you could write
He went
this.
straight from sheriff's
So
department
you
to
have a nonpartisan group of attorneys
Yes.
who have to
that write things for both sides,
right.
and you give them what you want. And she was wonderful, by the way. We
So
made
they put it in the language
we
that
made
is
this
legal.
just a little different than the Florida law. And she helped me with this specifically. I recall this, Alicia. You said you don't want it exactly as the Florida law is written, because what if a 10-year-old boy, next door neighbor boy, wants to borrow a comic book from your kid, and you left your door unlocked, and he opens the door and walks in? Should you be able to shoot him? Well, no.
No.
She says, so we have to make that a rebuttable thing, that if somebody comes into your house that you can automatically shoot them. Rebuttable that you have to be in fear. Obviously, a 10-year-old comes walking in your front door, you're not in any fear.
Right.
Just
right.
like the case we saw of the man that shot through a screen. A lady broke down and she went and banged on his door or rang his doorbell looking for help, and he opened it up and he's all afraid. He shoots her through the screen. Does he have the right to do that? No, absolutely not under my law.
Right.
The law protects you when somebody's trying to hurt you or rape you.
Right.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
trying to kill you.
So, and I'm just going to give you devil's advocate on that. The only reason I'm going to give you that.
That's
so,
like your third one.
no, yeah, I know. Sorry.
In NHL teams, they only
As-
give them so many challenges.
You know, you were a sheriff and you were law enforcement for many years. How fast did you have to make decisions sometimes in the field?
Split seconds.
Right. So my thing is, while that is a tragedy, it is. That woman should have never lost her life. However, when somebody comes banging on your door, like we saw the kicking the door thing at 2 a.m. stuff that was going on.
But she didn't kick the screen door in, and she's on the other side of a screen
Right.
door.
But I'm just saying, we've had people show up at your house, and they might have their hands in their pocket or whatever, and you have to make a quick assumption of what's going on. And
Right,
yes,
right.
I get it. She didn't do anything that's anything, but I'm just saying there are cases where people present themselves as a UPS person. They present themselves as an Amazon person. The only reason I say this, just the other day on my cameras, I actually have a guy, we were out at the movie theater, and a dude's walking around in my front yard with a flashlight, not the sidewalk area or my driveway, in my yard, like up close to my cameras and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty unnerving at 9:20 at night. Like, dude, I would at least be like, hey, knock or something or whatever. But that person is now way up in my yard, and I'm having to make a decision on that situation. If I come out and that person, quickly makes a move or does something that I'm not sure what they're doing, I got to make it. You get what I'm saying? It's one of those things where.
Well, I would say, was anybody in danger? Did you have a spouse or a child out in the yard that he was going to attack?
No. But what I'm saying is, when
there's-
somebody's at your door, when they come to your door, I'm just saying it was unnerving for me because I'm watching through a camera. I have no idea what this guy's doing. No idea. We made an assessment of, I think it's the same Amazon guy that was there earlier in the day, but we couldn't even tell because the reflection, it was like mirroring off of him. I'm not sure what he was wearing or whatever, but it was mirroring off of him. But what I'm saying is there's also people that come to your door as something that they're not. And all of a sudden that conversation that could have been, hey, how you doing, turns into something else. And that's my only thing there is how do you decipher that in a split second? Because it can change on a dime. That woman could have been, who knows, some lunatic that decides to come,
Obviously, if you're a police officer, you have to have a little bit of courage.
Mhm.
The second time I was shot at was with a rifle.
Right.
The man, I got the call was there's a strange man going around a motel, and it was an old, like 1940s motel.
Right.
Hot plate and a bed and nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And you could rent it by the day or the week
hour.
or whatever. And
Hotel,
So-
motel.
Cockroaches on the walls.
I pull up, and he shoots
Oof.
over the car with a rifle. Okay, I whip the car around, jump out, and get my 38 out.
Right.
I put it on him, and I'm starting to pull the trigger. Puts the gun straight up in the air, and he says, "My wife is in there." I won't use the actual word, but my wife is in there having sex with another man. Kill me. I just want to die.
Oof.
Oh, so he wanted,
A rough
he wanted,
situation, man.
He
he
wanted suicide by cop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I let the trigger back. You know how it is.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're
Yeah, yeah.
starting on the
Reset,
trigger, but you let it go back.
Yep.
And I talked, and I talked. And 20 minutes later,
You got him in the
he
back of the
takes
car.
the rifle, throws it through a windshield of another car, and he went to jail, and he went to a mental institution for a lot of care.
Yep.
We do use that term sometimes on this show, the aforementioned term you didn't want to use.
And again, the only reason I
You can use it, I shouldn't.
That's why we got the
the only reason
I
I push back at all, you yourself in a career that you've had, have seen things turn in a way that you never would have expected. I mean, I'm sure people in their life have seen it time and time again, and they're also at a certain point, running up to someone's house. I mean, granted, her situation is different than what I'm basically getting at, but we've seen so many times where someone presents themselves as something else and quickly becomes. I mean, look at the one. Was it Louisiana? Mother and daughter were trying to get in their house. Guy just seemed suspiciously following them, and all of a sudden, as soon as they opened their door, this dude bolted and grabbed the daughter like she was a rag doll, slammed her on the cement, grabbed the mother, beat the crap out of her, and then was dragging them into a van. You know, like
Yeah.
this is stuff that happens. And again, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic on it, but all I'm saying is
Yeah.
like, you know, is everything going to be like that lady at the door all the time? I don't know. I don't know.
Isn't it comes down to the dynamic though that you're in that difficult situation of writing as Thomas Paine wrote that we have to institute the least amount of government to protect the greatest amount of rights and liberties and freedoms. And so that's the dynamic that you're there with, having this Alicia, what was her name? Larry? Quit playing with the F-bomb.
Alicia Urbane.
Urbane.
Yeah.
U-R-B-A-I-N, I believe.
She's trying to formulate the legalese language
Yes.
of
Right.
what your intent is. And your intent is, hey, wait a minute, this was a judge's decision that set a legal precedent, but we've never legislated this
Correct.
into the actual MCL, and we want to have something there that at least gives this parameters, but we don't want to go overboard. So I understand what James is saying is he's like, what about this situation? What about this situation? But you're like, listen, let's at least get something on the books.
Like we
that
don't want to know.
covers
I
the
get you
Castro-
don't want an overzealous person shooting through a door at a kid bringing a comic book. I mean, how tragic is that?
And then having
You know,
legal protection.
right.
But at
But-
the same time, you're like, how do you balance that dynamic as a legislator for 14 years? I'm sure you had many other things that came across your desk or that was presented to you in a phone call or a person in front of you that you went, how do I formulate that so that I satisfy someone like James as well as some? That's a difficult dynamic to be
You
able
can't-
to navigate.
You can't
You're never
always-
going to appease everybody,
You're
and
never
I
gonna.
get it.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
You do the best you can
right.
for the majority.
But I love this. You are was that Senate at the time or was that Representative? The Castle Doctor.
Representative.
Representative. That was early, right? That was early. I'm trying to remember. So early in your career as a representative, you get one of the most profound, because I assumed, I'm probably sure you did, that the Castle Doctrine was
That was 07, wasn't it?
right, but I thought it was like forever there. But it's
No,
based on
I know
this,
it was. I
based
think
on
it was
a,
like right before the crash, the economic crash. I thought.
but it's based on a legislative dynamic, or not a jurisdiction, a judgment by a judge. It was a precedent in law, but it wasn't an actual MCL.
yes.
And you didn't get this passed until 80 years later, 85 years later, 84 years later. What was that, 25? So
Yes.
82 years
Yes.
later. So 82 years later, you finally push through legislation that gets it on the books that at the least somebody comes in your house, you have the right to defend you. You can't defend if they're on your porch. You got to have a little bit of a pause, a little bit of jurisdiction.
well,
And
no,
I
you still
understand-
have to have. You
no,
still have to fear for your life
No,
in your house too.
Now remember, you have the right to shoot somebody if certainly if they kicked your door in. They're
Yes.
coming through and you're trying to protect your spouse and children.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it the
But-
language of fear for your life?
But yes, you have to be in
So
fear,
those two, that
in fear of your
wife
life,
and daughter would have been in that category.
in fear of your life or rape. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what you're concerned.
So they
with.
would have been in that category. And,
But
and that's
before
where-
that, when he was stalking them, when they felt that he was a danger, like he's just walking. He could have just they could have just said, "Oh well, you didn't have to shoot him. He was just there to like give you a track to try to get you saved."
Right.
I mean,
And
and that's what liberals do. That's why I hate being devil's advocate all the time, but the liberals have done this thing where they frame a career criminal that has more rights than we do because they get the assumption all the time. But if you are some guy like me that actually had to defend himself one day, I'm suddenly the big bad white nationalist, Christian, whatever thing they want to label you as.
the subway guy that choked out and ultimately killed.
Yeah, they tried it. Yeah,
47
the Marine.
arrests or something like that, and he finally was like, he held him down long enough to where he was unconscious, but he didn't realize that he had passed.
Yep.
and they charged him. You
Yep.
know, you've got this 19 times or something like that.
The guy that
arrested
stabbed
guy,
what's her
stabbed-
name, and
stabbed the
they let him
little
go.
girl.
Oh, he's incompetent to stand trial. Poor him.
These are the dynamics that we're dealing with, and that's why I throw it back out about mental institutions. Yes, they're horrible. There's other dynamics, but at least when we had some of those mental institutions, we had a few more options to deal with people. And I love Lighthouse up there in Carroll. I'm very familiar with them. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. 14 years of navigating that, 31 years of being in law enforcement. Was it just go, all right, Lord? Was it in those moments where you just said, Lord, just like you did that night, you're coming back and this guy's shotgunning your car and you're sitting back. Did you have that moment where you went, okay, Lord, I'm going to bounce every decision or at least be open to your leading and your guiding in this, because this is a hard thing to navigate in life.
I think you need to learn how to pray
Yeah.
and ask for God's help with your decisions.
God is good.
All the time.
Isn't
God
that the
is good.
dynamic? Is we always, whether even making mistakes, I come back and I go, Lord, how could I have done that better? You know,
Sure.
It's like get your post. What do they call that? Your post post operation sit rep. Your after
post-op.
your after action assessment. You know, I lay in bed, probably just like you did with your epiphany with the Lord, and you went, Lord, I go to church. You know, I try to do the best, but today my life could have been gone, and I know you protected me. I surrender my life. That's those dynamics, and then you move forward, going, all right, Lord. Did you have anything that you did in your life that when you woke up in the morning or started your day where you went, did you develop anything after that point of that night, that surrender, that where you kind of said, I dedicate myself to you today? Or was there anything like that
I
came about?
think about the time I hit captain, you go up to the ranks, sergeant, lieutenant, captain.
Mm-hmm.
I had more of a dedicated schedule. Normally it was from 9 to 5 or whatever. It was a dedicated schedule, so I could do volunteer work.
Okay.
And so that's when I started getting into things like the Special Olympics. I would take young people up to CMU, and they would participate in different sports, and I had to guide them around the campus, make sure they were safe, make sure they got their food. And
Rick, you are an incredible individual. Like, the
And,
more we peel back layers.
the other one that I did, you want to do something that will really make you think. I volunteered for hospice. What happened is I had a sergeant that came to me, female sergeant, and she says, I'm going to have to give up my career. I'm going to have to leave. Both my parents have cancer, and I need to stay home and take care of them. And so we brought in Eaton Community Hospice, was what it was called at that time.
Okay.
And they would sit with their parents while she went to work. And so they would, care for them. And so I started out, I went in to make just a monetary donation to the director. And she sits me down and she says, you've been around a while, you're a cop, you can take death. Yeah, I think so. She says, I'd like you to sit with patients. Because at the time, we didn't have a home to put people in.
Okay.
So we sent volunteers out to sit with people so their family could get respite.
Yeah.
Many cases you got a spouse has been sitting with her husband for a couple of months. She's going crazy. She needs to get out. Or husband with a wife. Or, it could be a lot of different situations. It could be a mother or father.
A change of clothes and a shower.
Yeah.
I spent
And
24/7 the full last week with
one
my
of
mom.
the most interesting cases I had was I got an assignment. Go to this trailer, and you're going to be sitting with a mother, a woman who, so her daughter can get out. So I knock on the door, it opens up. It's the chairwoman of the Eaton County Democrats, and she says, Rick, what are you doing on my porch? And I said, I'm not Rick tonight, I'm hospice. I'm here to sit with your mother. And she says, really? So she gives me a cup of coffee that says Eaton County Democrats on it. And I sat on her couch, and over the top of the couch was a sign that said only Democrats allowed in my home. And I cared for her mother so she could go out and go to a game at MSU.
Wow.
I did that several times, and we developed a friendship. And her mother, of course, passed. And then one time she was getting interviewed by the press. They says, what do you think of this guy, Rick Jones? And by then I was a state rep.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, we don't always agree politically, but he's the nicest damn man I ever met. He sat with my mother. So to make a long story short, I think when you sit with people and they're near death, they tell you things, and they will tell you, don't put anything off. If there's something you wanted to do with your spouse or your children, do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait until next year, because next year may never come.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Rick, I'm gonna on that note, I'm gonna go here. We're gonna look up this one. It's from the Lansing State Journal. This is not a right-leaning
No.
platform by any shape or but it says, I like to work, and you've said that multiple times in the show, how Rick Jones became the most successful lawmaker of his time. This is written by a left-leaning political thing. There you are, a little bit thicker, a little bit plumper. This is the first election year since Bill Clinton was president that Rick Jones isn't planning another run for public office. He's been the Eaton County Sheriff, a state rep, and now he's a state senator who won't seek re-election because of term limits, though he's talked about running for Congress or governor. Did you I'm sure, obviously you didn't do that.
I did not.
Jones isn't on the ballot this year. He's keeping his options open for a possible bill for Bill Schuette administration. So this is a while ago. So this was 8 years ago. So at a spry 65, with 14 years of lawmaking, 3 decades of law enforcement under his belt, Jones could, if he wanted to, see 2019 as a dawn of a long employment. I usually read these in a voice. It's a cold read for me. It's the first time I'm reading this. I won't denigrate it with a voice. He could coast through 2018 at a slow, lame duck pace. Yet, there he was at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday in May, talking policy, trading jokes with constituents at the Grand Ledge A&W, same as he had done most mornings since he became a state rep in 2005. By 9 a.m., he was sitting with. He was hitting the gavel for the Senate Judiciary Committee he's chaired since he joined the upper chamber in 2011, advancing another 600 plus bills and resolutions he's authorized since beginning work at the Capitol. This is a huge write-up for you, honoring you from a liberal rag, knowing that a left-leaning. Knowing your
Rick's not saying it. We can.
Your consistent conservative record, your Republican record, and then hearing you tonight, I think all three of us are
no
so
idea
honored to
the
be
depth,
sitting with
yeah.
you and just hearing your testimony. When James said, "Hey, Rick Jones is going to come on here," and I'm like, "Okay, who's this?" And I did a little research, and I'm like, "Cool," because we always kind of. One of us gets an idea of who wants to come on the show, and then we're like, we might have a different name. And I was like, okay. And I bounced off a couple people, and they said, yeah, no, he's a good guy. And I was like, okay. And I am blown away by you and your testimony tonight of just what you've done, and then hearing how much work you've done behind the scenes. And you do it in no way aggrandizing or boasting or anything like that. You're just nonchalant. Well, hey, I actually served over here, and I actually do some of this. Your self-assured, but not in any way arrogant about yourself because it's from the heart. You are the embodiment of the representation that we need in the sheriff's office, in the representative, in the Senate, in our government, that is sorely needed in this day and age, who understands not everybody's a criminal, not everybody's evil just because they have a D. You've gone across the aisle, whether it was through hospice, whether it was through a legislation that you brought forth where constituents called their representative and said, go deal with that guy. And you get this resounding article from the State Journal because you're above reproach in this dynamic. And I think this is a beautiful testimony, and it's an honor and privilege to have you on the show tonight, and I appreciate it so much. Where do you see, with all that wealth of experience and track record, 73 years old, all of that, how are you seeing the midterms here in the state of Michigan, and what are you seeing as far as the national stage? Because this article alluded to you potentially, that was the only other level. You're term limited out of reps, you're term limited out of Senate. You're not going to go back to being sheriff. You're not going to. You were at that point going, all right, what do I do next? You choose to be a trustee or a township supervisor.
I could have just retired.
Yeah, but you decided.
But I
Could have been a
something.
taser tester too.
I mean, dude, I did not piss himself after the taser let up.
I made the
amazed.
decision that I was going to step back a little bit and do part-time jobs. Township supervisor in a township, my size township, 4,000 people is a part-time job.
Okay. Do you still do some hospice, or have you taken a step back from that?
I'm chair of the board.
Oh my
Wow.
God, dude! Come on.
Now-
So did you consider running for governor? Did you think about it?
Actually, I helped people run for governor who I hoped would maybe consider putting me in a position where I could help with the state.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm really pushing for Mike Cox.
I know we had that.
I really like.
The last event I was at, I'm telling you, out of
Yeah,
all the
I've
ones I've
known
been in, he
Mike
was
Cox
lit.
for a
That was
long
a very
time.
good event.
You know, he knows how to win elections. He was our attorney general under a Democrat governor. He knows how to win.
Yeah.
He also was Trump's election lawyer for 2024 campaign in Michigan.
Yes,
so
he
he was one
was.
of the leads, and he was also the Open Up Michigan attorney, labeled with 200 of them.
Yeah,
going
what I
on
like
that.
is we have some really good candidates for governor.
We do.
I mean, Mike Cox is my favorite. All right, we go back to 1999. So you know, I've known him. Yep, I know him.
good year.
I know him very, very well. And we have Tom Leonard,
Yep, a good guy.
another good man.
Yep,
that I
great
have
Christian
a-
man.
Yep, and then we have Eric Nesbitt,
He's awesome.
and he's a very good guy.
Yep.
You know, I really like him too. So I'm looking forward to the
And Perry
August
Johnson,
primary.
I haven't been to an event yet, but I've had several people reach out to me and just basically say the dude is on
yeah.
fire on his
I will
events.
support the person the people choose.
Yeah.
Because unlike our Secretary of State candidate on the Republican side, unlike our Attorney General candidate who are chosen by conventions,
Yes.
this is a vote of the people.
Right.
Right.
I favor Eric Nesbitt. I think he's the sharpest. I think he's got the most on the ball, and I think he's the most electable. I have nothing against Mike Cox. I like Mike Cox. I worked with him. We had, let's see, you have Tom. Tom is not a bad man, but he's a registered lobbyist. In my experience, lobbyists don't get elected.
I didn't know he was a lobbyist.
Yes.
I just learned something.
And the other side uses anything they can get on you.
Yeah.
And in my experience, lobbyists don't get elected.
Rick, give us the knowledge, brother. You are laying
That's what I
down
want to
some
know
good
about
stuff.
the midterms.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
I
Because-
had
I
no
really
idea.
like that.
I had
Yeah.
no idea he was a lobbyist. So.
I wonder if all of these people are going to turn their signatures in. You know, by the 21st, they have to have their signatures
right.
in.
Right.
Now, how many won't have enough signatures?
Yeah,
That's a huge deal.
I've turned in, I think 8 sheets for Christina Like for judge,
Yeah.
and 6 or 8 sheets for Tom Berry.
Which ought to work
Good
for
work.
Trump support and
So-
endorse
Which,
Christina Lake.
which
Right.
I've got bad knees. Otherwise, I'd be turning
Stop,
in a
Larry.
lot more.
You got to talk to Rick. He's got great knees, and he's like 10 years older than you. What the hell?
It must have been that taser.
How do you have bad knees when you're riding in a truck? Were you just pushing too hard on the pedal?
Maybe that's part of it. Maybe my military service. I don't
Jumping
know.
out of
Wait,
planes.
I apologize to the audience out there. I was told not to pick on Larry for the next 2 weeks. I can't pick on Larry.
That wouldn't be any fun.
Dude, shut up, Larry.
So
So
that's,
Rick, yeah.
that's a good knowledge bomb there. I did not know that Tom was a
Registered lobbyist.
Yeah.
And nothing
yeah.
against lobbyists.
No,
I
no,
know
no,
a lot
no.
of them.
And Tom's a good guy.
What I'm talking about, electable.
Right.
Is the candidate electable?
Did you serve with Joe Hunes?
I did.
Now that was an incredible senator.
Yes, you know,
He was our senator. I loved that guy. He was a wonderful state rep.
Yeah.
Do you know how he won the first election?
Yes, because me and my wife moved here from
And how many votes did he get elected by?
I think 2.
2.
Yeah, and me and my wife.
Are you trying to take credit
Larry-
for the 2 votes?
Larry and Carla.
Me and my wife moved here.
Larry and Darla voted,
Yeah,
and that was it.
And the race was between
He
Joe
won by
Hume
carpetbagger votes.
and I can't remember the other guy.
Larry, you're a
I can't remember
carpetbagger.
the other guy, but he used to write for the Livingston Post, I believe. Can't remember his name. He's not my fan.
Well, and, I have
but-
nothing against John James. He served our country. He's
Right.
a good guy. I wish he had stayed.
I paved
as-
his driveway.
I wish
know
he had
he's-
stayed as a congressman and not tried to run for governor.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, Robert
That was
Loser is a
rhetoric- that
good
was
guy out there in
rhetorical. It's
District
like- it's
10.
like-
But it bothers me
yeah.
that I believe that if you're running for governor right now, you ought to be out there every day working.
He's avoiding it.
And what did the media carry? A story about how he was in the Turks and Caicos on vacation.
Yeah.
I got
I got a problem with that.
And he also,
Take your vacation after you're done.
they're going to have a debate of the governor candidates, the Republican governor candidates in Oakland. John James
he's not going.
refuses to show up. I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Well-
it's like our wonderful senator, Alyssa Slotkin.
Oh, you had to bring up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
She's speaking in Iowa. She's traveling through Ohio.
Says she wants to be president.
She says she wants
God
to be
help us.
president.
She's ridiculous. 6 successful campaigns. What was the most difficult one? 1 for sheriff, 3 for representative, 2 for senate. This is 6 successful campaigns. So when you're talking about the midterms, what was your most difficult and why? And what was your easiest and why?
Well, probably the toughest race would have been the first one.
Okay, because you're an
because
unknown. You're a
I'm
deputy?
I'm up against an incumbent sheriff,
You ran against your own boss.
and
You should have started
Wow.
with the taser then, and you would have won.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
it. Hold my beer.
How
Let's
did
go.
that explain some more of that data? How did that come
Okay.
to fruition?
Well, what happened is the sheriff who was there knew I wanted to run to be the sheriff when he was done. Okay, so he decided to quit at 2 years and 1 day. If he had quit a week sooner, it would have been an election. The first 2 years of a sheriff, you have an election. The last 2 years, the probate judge and the clerk and the prosecutor appoint somebody. So they
he
appointed.
sabotaged you
Oh,
on purpose.
my.
So he
Wow.
decided to go 1 day over.
Just to
So
mess with you.
not necessarily
You're
to
so
mess
nice,
with
Rick.
me.
He's so nice.
We're gonna
We're
say
like,
it.
dude,
Not
he was,
necessarily to mess with
Listen,
me, but
we're-
to help his friend.
Right.
yeah, we're
become
past
sheriff.
9 o'clock at night. He was fucking with you.
So
hardcore.
I said to myself and a few friends,
yeah.
let him have it. I'm running against him, and I'm starting today.
Would
Yeah.
you, well, now,
And I went to my wonderful wife.
that's what I was going to ask you. 52 years.
And
he
I
was like,
said-
what'd she say?
I said,
Honey, I'm thinking.
honey, I want to run for sheriff,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have to borrow money off the house.
What'd she
I
s-
can't possibly raise enough money to run.
I can't.
I mean, people were giving me $5, $10, $20. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, not
Yeah.
the kind of money I needed to
Yep.
run a campaign.
Right, right.
And she said, "You go right ahead."
Wow.
That's an awesome woman.
And,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I
Did she
knocked.
give you any feedback? Like, did she have her own prayer time where she came back
She
to you and
said,
said,
"Get out there and knock on some more doors."
That's
awesome.
Keep
That's
going.
awesome. That's awesome.
And I knocked.
It's our loss at the table that we didn't get a chance to meet her.
I knocked
Yeah.
on you know,
What was her name?
thousands. Charlene.
Charlene. What'd you call her though?
That's a beautiful
Call her
name.
Char? What'd you call her? What was your nickname for her? You said honey, but we all say honey or babe or whatever.
I'm not allowed to say honey. My wife would kill me. That's awful.
Well,
When you move to Tennessee permanent, it's gonna be honey. It's gonna be honey the whole time.
Well,
What was your
this
favorite?
will make a lot of the girls out there angry. They're listening to this
Oh.
probably.
Oh, we don't care.
Coach
But,
Kim out there.
You wrote legislation to get rid of genital mutilation. You can say whatever you want.
I married. Well, I dated Charlene while we were working at that restaurant. That's where we met.
Wow.
Okay, and I was 1 grade higher than her.
Yeah, cradle robber.
So I took her out 3 times, and on the 3rd time, I said, "I think I'd like to marry you someday."
Oh hell yeah!
Now this is the first
awesome.
girl, and the
First
only,
and the only
girl
Yeah,
that I had dated.
that's awesome.
Now we didn't run right out and get married, but
Right,
I mean, she still had to go to the prom,
which you took her
But-
to, so you're good.
But later on, we made the decision. I was just 20, and she's just 19, and we got married. And
beautiful.
people say, "Well, you got married too young."
No way.
And they
No
said-
way. That's just awesome.
And they said, "I don't think you're compatible. She's 4'11", and you're like 6 foot. I don't think you're compatible."
Oh,
And
you
I
made it work.
And I said, "Who cares how tall she is?"
Right.
And so my nickname for her was Little One.
Little one.
Oh, beautiful. Did you just call it out in the middle of the house every once in a while? What was that? You go, hey, little one.
Later in life, she had part of her spine disintegrate in her neck, and the doctor said we can put either plastic in there or we can put a cadaver bone.
Okay.
And they said cadaver bone's much better because it'll fuse better and much better. She says, "I'm not afraid of that. Put it in." After that, she was 4'10".
Oh man.
So she's even shorter.
So
So
Did we change the name? Was it Minnie at that point, or what?
Yeah. I mean, what is dwarf? What's the level of?
well, I made a joke one time.
One time, I noticed he said one time.
Part of my district, my first Senate district was Eaton, Berry, and Allegan. So we had stopped in Woodland.
Okay.
And we were going to get a couple of hamburgers and say hi to people. And I'm on the way, we hurried and we rushed out. And this lady jumps up and says, "What are you doing? Leaving so early? You should stay here and talk to us longer." And I says, so I made a little joke. I says, "I'm really sorry, but I entered Charlene in a midget tossing contest.
Oh my God.
and we got to get to the event."
No.
So this big lady puts me in a bear hug. It says, yells out, "Hit him, Charlene, hit him." And the whole place is just cracking up laughing. They thought that was so funny.
Dude, you are
man.
absolutely, you are the full circle.
Oh my.
Dude, you're
Our
taking
wonderful-
care of all sorts of special needs people, serving, sheriff, rep, and throwing jokes out.
Awesome sense of humor.
Dude, and getting bear hugs, hardcore, so your wife can come up. But dude, this is awesome, dude. What were you gonna say, Larry?
Well, I was just gonna say, you know what? It's an honor sitting here with a guy like
Dude.
him.
It really is,
and
man.
and
This
it's
is-
why I'm
so
a
happy.
delegate,
Yeah,
so I work hard getting people like you elected.
yeah.
Right? And,
Thank you.
and I like that. People ask me, "Hey, Larry, are you going to run for office one day?" I couldn't imagine sitting at a desk reading a bill that's 5,000 pages.
And then to
I'd-
have a whole
I
legal
would
team.
rather get tased.
Well, that's why
But you would you
that's
piss
why we
yourself?
have wonderful attorneys,
Yeah.
like Miss Urbane,
Yeah.
to interpret things for us, because sometimes you read them and you go, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you need attorneys
Exactly.
to say this is exactly what this means.
I mean, and a lot of people don't realize what it's like to be a state rep. I mean, or even in the Senate, because you don't get one or two bills; they come by the dozens.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that
know,
article,
and
the article says like 600 plus bills and resolutions.
Yeah.
You're showing up in what would be your lame duck part of your term, and you're still there after you've met with constituents, after you've showed up you're showing up there to gavel stuff, as to Larry's point. It's like you're being hit with these amount of stuff.
I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee,
Yeah.
and I took that committee, which can handle criminal or civil law, so it'll handle virtually anything,
Yeah.
and I made it the hardest working committee in Lansing. We handled more bills
Wow.
than anyone, because we just kept working. We just kept working, and I told everybody on the committee, if you're going to be on this committee,
You're going to work your ass off.
be here on time.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't flying around trying to get elected like Slotkin when you're supposed to be.
Or going to some foreign
Working.
country
Yeah.
or taking a vacation. Rick,
I mean,
have
what
you-
an incredible. Just. I
Larry,
could have
were you
never
done
put
with your
this line
slide
up.
there?
She's my favorite.
Oh.
Stop with slacking. Rick, on one hand, can you tell the audience out there how many vacations you've taken? None.
When?
No, he's
When?
Exactly. I mean, just hearing your story, I knew you were going to say
Well,
that.
Dude, your vacation was coming home at night with your wife and your kids and relaxing with them and enjoying a good meal at home.
One time I was out camping with my wife and kids,
Yeah.
and
Was it a small camp? Was it a shorter camp?
Anyway, she sees the sheriff department car. We're in another county, obviously. We're out camping, and she says,
She's shaking her head.
quietly starts swearing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
go, what's the matter? She says, I know they're here for you. And so they come up and they handed me a subpoena. They said they got to have you in court tomorrow.
Oh.
That was my life I'd signed up for.
What?
Oh my goodness.
Wait. Explain the story. Give us some more depth in the story.
Okay, this is
She's
that.
cussing. She's dropped an F-bomb. She's like, what the ever-living,
She knows they're there to make me go to work.
because you're in another county,
Yeah.
and probably they had a sheriff that wasn't.
No. What had happened is a case that wasn't scheduled suddenly came up back in Eaton
So
County.
you're camping.
And the prosecutor says, I need Rick Jones. I don't care if he's on vacation or not.
So you're
I
camping.
need him tomorrow in court.
Oh, wow. All right.
So
So
here
total,
they
total
come.
different perspective.
Here they come with a subpoena and say,
You're camping
You're-
with your family,
Yeah.
and they your county attorney, your district attorney says, I got to have the sheriff here,
I gotta
or
have
the sheriff's deputy.
not sheriff, a
You were a
deputy.
deputy at the time.
I got to have Rick
I
tomorrow.
got to have
in
Rick
court.
here in
Yeah.
court.
So
and
if
they
you took-
track your ass down to
Right,
a
I was going to say.
campsite.
So how do
and
they
come
do that
and go-
unless you had to tell them where your whereabouts are every time you
You
went?
had to.
Really?
It was
You're
required.
Yeah.
So,
So you had to show
What
up.
if you had to be called in for
Right.
an emergency?
So
Right.
what time was court the next morning? And did you make pancakes, bacon, and eggs for the family before you left?
No, my wife and I had a talk, and we'd already camped for 3 days, and I said,
Let's pull camp.
why don't we just go home and, we'll do it again.
What time was the afternoon? What time did they serve you in the afternoon?
I think it was like 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, so you had time to
and
pull camp
so
and like that.
We
You
headed home, and the next morning.
And
I was-
she'd already proven herself to be this woman, to where you said to her, "Listen."
Before I married her, I
Yeah,
warned her.
you laid
I
it
said,
out.
I'm gonna miss Christmas. I'm gonna miss Easter.
That's beautiful. How many Christmases Christmas and birthdays did you actually have to miss? Because I've got a couple buddies that are law enforcement.
Hundreds.
Really?
I was there 31 years.
Yeah.
And you got birthdays, and you got all
Did you
kinds
get,
of things.
Did you get those special events where they said you missed it, but we're gonna do something extra because you weren't able to be there?
The families always tried to have
To
something.
adjust?
Something when I could get there.
so
Yeah, because they understood what your what your service meant to you and what you had signed up for.
Charlene's father and mother were divorced, so I had to go to 3 families,
Oh, wow.
and we did it.
Of course, you made it work.
We did
You
it.
made it work.
Awesome.
52 years. Beautiful. Larry, what were you going to say?
I was going to share a picture that was in the paper that I had taken with Alyssa Slotkin.
Oh,
I'm not, you know what,
No.
Yes.
Larry, I had to change my password.
Yeah. Oh, you can't bring it up
I
to
can't bring
share?
up Facebook.
All right. I'll just show him personally.
Thank God. No, I literally,
holding the sign.
James, I came up
yeah,
here and I
I
was
see
like,
that. I see that.
watch this, watch this. Watch this. If I pull it up, look what it says. See what it says? Facebook. What's your login? Yeah, because I had to change my password because there was something. I was like, so Larry, I'm so sorry. I can't pull up a picture of you and Alyssa Slotkin
Yeah.
while Rick's here with us.
You know, what an amazing senator. You know, her first thing out in public, her first event that she did was reading transgender books to kindergartners.
Was that as a
Yes.
senator or was
That
that
was
as a,
wonderful. No,
What a
she-
human piece
she
of
I
didn't-
thought that was
She
when she
didn't
got
do that.
elected chief retard. I didn't know
No,
that. That was
she did that as a
rep?
congresswoman.
Chief rep.
When she was Congress. she
Did
did
you ever
that.
have to deal personally with Alyssa Slotkin here in the legislature, Rick?
Not personally, but
Thank
the
God.
media did ask me my opinion when she was running for Congress.
And
And what happened
did you just say
is
low?
she was living on her parents' farm.
Yes, she's
And
more than
she-
a carpetbagger than Larry.
She had to move in to a condo in Lansing, and she rented a room from a lobbyist.
Unbelievable.
And this is how I now live
Oh wow!
in the district.
Wow, is that how the CIA operates?
Yes.
I'm just wondering how
And
is that.
I
Yes.
objected to that.
I mean, it's not as bad as Ilhan Omar marrying her
no.
brother, but
Well, at
it's
least she
pretty
left her
close.
grandparents'
Pretty close.
At the federal level,
Yeah.
a congressman can live wherever they want and still run to be your congressman. I'm not saying it was illegal. I'm saying it was very inappropriate.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
didn't think twice about it. Her and her triple chin.
No,
Was she a hot
parachuted-
dog? A hot dog? What was the thing about the hot dogs, Larry?
Oh, her parents owned high grade foods.
That's right.
So Ballpark Franks is Alyssa Slotkin.
My bad. I was trying to
Yeah.
figure that out. Is that made up of chicken lips and chicken assholes, right? I'm just saying, what's the filler that goes in those hot dogs?
I don't want to know what's in hot dogs. Please don't
Yeah,
ruin that
please
for
don't-
me.
please don't
I,
tell me.
I actually like some ballpark Franks every once in a while.
Rick, this has been an absolute pleasure. Again, any other comments on the midterms? You
Okay.
did a great assessment of those who are running for governor: Mike Cox, Tom Leonard,
Eric Nesbitt.
Rick Perry, Nick
Eric Nesbitt,
Eric Nesbitt is your guy
he's the guy
because
I think
because you've interacted with the person. I think that's a dynamic that most people miss.
I think he's got wonderful family pictures. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
little children. I think he's very, very, very electable.
Okay.
He's been a farmer. He's currently a senator. All the other Republicans,
Yeah.
they really believe in him because they made him the Republican leader of the Senate.
Right. Right.
So I think he's our best choice. I'm not going to say anything bad about the other men. I'm just
Well,
saying
let's see how
who
that-
is the most electable.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that refreshing?
Rick, did you ever lose an election, a public election?
I did.
Tell us, because I've got 7 on my plate right now.
Well-
Township, right? Where are you at current at township?
No, I easily got elected to township supervisor.
Easily. Township
No,
supervisor.
I
Township
came,
supervisor.
I
So-
came back. I was off the Senate. I was out of the Senate for several years, and I was doing my little part-time jobs and stuff.
Okay.
And there was a deputy who had been assigned to go pick up a guy. He was going back to prison. He had violated his parole.
Okay.
So the deputy and another deputy was behind him. He had a very narrow thing to go through to get into the house. And the guy opens the door, and the deputy says, "Come on out." And the guy hits the deputy in the head with a steel pipe.
Ooh.
Look at the steel pipe.
Knocks him down. The other deputy finally gets him.
Yeah.
This deputy later was diagnosed with epilepsy. Both experts at Michigan State Medical and the University of Michigan Medical both said it was caused by his head being beat in by the the pipe.
Okay.
Okay. He was off of work. They were denying him a position that he could have filled. There was jobs that he
desk
could have
job,
done
yeah,
that,
desk
that
job.
weren't out
Right.
in the
Give
street.
him a desk job. Give him
He was
something.
denied all those. He tried to apply for partial, retirement
Right.
because of medical.
Yeah.
They denied that. The sheriff didn't go to fight for him. People came to me, and I was angry.
Of course.
I was very angry.
Just based on your
I
testimony right now,
I
that's a
considered
travesty.
this man a friend,
Yeah.
and I considered what happened to him completely wrong.
Yeah. 100%.
So I ran. I sent out a postcard about it, the situation. The newspaper got a hold of it, and he ended up on the front page of the Lansing State Journal,
Okay.
and the county caved.
Okay.
Now, I didn't win that. I ran against the sheriff,
But did you kind of somewhat?
but my victory was my
100%.
my friend got a medical pension. He then went on to get a Social Security disability,
Yeah.
and thank God he did. Otherwise, he
So-
was
so-
that
Wow.
close to bankruptcy.
Listen, come on, everybody out there. If you can't hear the sincerity in that and all that dynamics, you didn't run because you wanted to go back and be a sheriff. You ran because you wanted to be an advocate for another sheriff's deputy that was being mishandled by the system, by the insurance and the other dynamics, and you ran. And as soon as you got that, how quickly did you back off of even challenging the sheriff?
I continued a
But it was
credible campaign,
yeah.
but I lost.
This is what this guy touts up as the losing election.
But-
He's like, I got what I wanted,
But
and I backed off.
there's one township in the county that has gone extreme Democrat,
Okay.
and I couldn't get voted in there, and it was the highest population township of the county,
Usually,
Delta, just west of Lansing.
Yeah.
And so be it. I still met a lot of people, had a lot of fun, and it was worth it.
Listen, this guy's incredible.
This has been an incredible
This has been
show.
a great show, great interview with you, Rick. Dude, I ask you for the one time that you lose, and you're like, actually, I won. Because the reason I ran was to get this guy his disability that he was due honorable. That's you didn't care about yourself at that point. You're like, I'm going to get into this to make sure that this gets on the front page. The Lansing Journal puts it up there. You get it done. You didn't care whether you won or not. You cared that your fellow man got what he was honorably deserving of. That's your track record. That's makes you phenomenal. James, you set this up. You texted last month or a month and a half ago, and you said, "Hey, I've got Rick Jones. I didn't know who you were.
We have a mutual friend, and
Yeah.
Marnie really just was like, you got to have him on the show. And I'd done a little research on you as well, and I mean, it doesn't do justice.
No.
You
not
are
at
an
all.
incredible individual and just high integrity, and it's not often on the show. It's like,
You're blown away.
yeah,
by it.
you were way further than we'd even imagined, and just thank you for giving us your time. I mean, the experience you have is incredible. Sorry, I had to push back on Devil's Advocate. I just did. That's just my
that's
thing.
fine.
But I
He got
just
his 3, and then we cut him off. I'm like, listen, you're out of
But-
timeouts.
you are just. I mean, surprisingly, like just
Authentic.
authentic and awesome.
Dude,
I mean, I
it's
just
freaking awesome.
your taser experiment.
Dude,
I
he's
mean,
so
I'm just
impressed with that.
like,
he's like, dude, I had Bears show up. He's like, I love your taser thing.
oh, I mean, everything about it. What an incredible show. I mean, really.
Pick a color, James. Give me your color. Oh, he's going with the brown. So, good final thought on that,
Yeah, I mean,
dude. Rick, you've been awesome. Larry, give
Yes,
us your
sir.
final thought over here, buddy.
Well, I'd like to say thanks for your service.
Thank you.
You know,
31
like
years.
I
Sheriff's
said,
Department
it's
and
everything that I do
yeah,
You know, like I have a pack. You know.
Shameless promotion.
Yep. I serve on campaigns. I manage campaigns.
Christina liked-
I love going to the conventions. I eat that stuff up.
This is the first one I skipped in many, many years.
Dude, he
because-
dresses up like a crazy person.
Because so many young people wanted to go, and I knew they were going to go because they had told me they were going to go for Doug Lloyd,
Yeah.
Doug Lloyd's awesome.
who's the right person. for
Man,
that
I love Doug Lloyd.
position. They were going to go
Yep.
for Bellini for the other one, and I said, me being there is not going to change anything, and I'd rather let some young person have that spot. So,
Right.
first one I haven't been to in many years.
But based on who you are and what you've shared with us tonight, Rick, there are some times where you take that leadership role, even if it's just being there to be a guiding light, to say, hey, there are going to be young representatives, young people that come up to you and just pick your brain for a minute, and it may seem insignificant, but you know it has profound effects.
Your wife
and
is
that- and
right now
that's
smiling down, man. I mean, this is
100%.
just an incredible career
She's
you
like-
you have.
Yeah, the first time she stood over you is right now because she's in heaven looking down. Otherwise, she would be like, look, you got to call her from on high now. Larry, finish your final thoughts on my paper, buddy.
Oh, well, that's. I think anybody out there that's elected in office, you know, you should follow in this guy's footsteps.
Yeah.
Dude,
You know,
unbelievable.
I mean,
I hope some of the
you
candidates
probably know
look him
some.
up to
You
for
probably
some
know
advice.
some of my friends then. Jim Runstead.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
We've had Jim on the show.
Yeah.
we gotta get him back.
Ann Boland.
Ann Boland has never come on the show, and that's your fault, Larry.
Trying to think of where she's from.
Right?
Brighton.
Right here? Yeah, Brighton.
Okay, I don't know her well.
You don't know her
Yeah.
well.
Ann Boland, I've had many parking lot conversations with her. She
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
is a firebrand and a badass. Larry needs to work harder at getting her on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason Wolford's been on the show. Do you know Jason?
He has. He hasn't been on since he's been elected.
No.
So Larry needs to work harder on that as well.
No.
This was listen. The Rick coup tonight of getting Rick Jones on there was all James Benson based on the recommendation of whoever he said. I won't throw you in, but this has been phenomenal. Larry, finish. You good?
That's it.
That's
yeah.
it.
I passed the paper.
They picked brown and red. Rick, please pick a different color out of the head and give me your signature. This is one of the things we do on the show is give me your final thoughts. That's a good green. I'm going to show up. Here it is. You've gotten good at that, signing many bills on the Senate floor. The
MSU class of '80. Criminal
MSU,
justice.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it. Rick, give us your final thoughts before I wrap it up tonight. Beautiful testimony. Dude, did you fall in love with this man during the show? Dude, you're a beautiful soul. I love you.
We
Just
thought
your
we were
testimony-
prepared for what we
We
thought
didn't
might
even-
hear, and you
Yeah.
just wow.
Yeah, we didn't even get into the full dynamics of your walk with Christ, but it's evident throughout everything you're doing. Your compassion, your love for everybody else. I love this. Give us your final thoughts on a beautiful career that is not over by any shape, but it has reached this grandfatherly pinnacle. What are your final thoughts tonight? Being on the show, sharing your life experiences, all of that dynamic. What's your final thought at this moment?
So you have to find the right partner in life. If you have the right partner in life, you can achieve anything. And I certainly had the right partner with Charlene.
Wow.
She was a wonderful wife,
Yeah.
and I have achieved what I did because I married the right girl.
Wow.
Man, that's awesome.
At 20 years old, you said after 3 dates, I think I'm going to marry you. You're the right girl. And
It's
then
amazing
you,
how that works.
And then you laid it out for her and said, "Hey, I'm going to be gone on holidays. I'm going to be gone on birthdays. Can you handle that?"
Well, I had
She
to,
said, I'm in 100%.
I had to pass her father's test.
I got a test for my daughter's boyfriends ahead.
I'm scared for them.
I think that involves more violence than Rick had to. What was the test?
Well,
that-
Charlene's dad was hillbilly extraction from Tennessee.
oh, shit.
He worked at Kellogg's cereal factory in Battle Creek.
All right.
All right.
And so I went up, hat in hand. His name was Etzel, just like the car.
Oh, shit.
Etzel, I'd like to marry your daughter.
Oh, man.
I'm asking for your permission. He looks at me and he says, is she pregnant?
Oh, shit. He was ready to pull out a shotgun,
I
right?
said, no, sir.
Not yet.
I'm not that foolish. She's not pregnant. He says, well, how are you going to support her? I said, well, sir, I want to be a police officer. He said, oh, it's a good career.
Except if you go to Eaton County.
He says, well, he had 5 acres long. He says, come with me out in the backyard. And as we're walking out back, he picks up a rifle.
My man.
Now, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what this man wants.
Did he grab a shovel too?
I don't know if he's going to shoot me or what. So we walk way, way down. We're away from the house, and he says, "See that squirrel way up there in the tree? Can you shoot? Are you able to shoot that?" Well, yes, sir. Gives me the rifle. I go, bang. The squirrel goes plop. Mighty fine eating, that's all. And he says, takes the rifle back, and he says, you'll make a might fine son-in-law.
Holy cow, dude.
Dude,
Is this guy not salty?
that is
This
awesome.
is fucking awesome.
I really hope some of the candidates
Dude,
in the
come
midterms
on.
are listening to this interview, because I'm telling you, this guy is a wealth of advice and experience and a breath of fresh air. I mean, I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
this is
Well,
truly a pleasure.
I would like Rick to see something that I find amazing.
Okay.
Wait, where's it
Because
at?
well, you know, there's this guy that comes on the show all the time. His name is Joe Pesci.
Why would you need him to see anybody like that? A tiny little fucking guy that has no significance to the conversation whatsoever. Go get your fucking shine box. Shine my fucking shoes.
That's
I'm
good.
sorry, Rick, that you had to endure that type of bullshit from this guy over here, this fucking mook.
That's really good.
I apologize, Rick, for
That's
you.
great.
No,
Wow.
I apologize.
Yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's-
at least it's not Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Listen, if 10 masks works, if one mask works, then it just stands to record that 10 masks works 10 times better.
So if people ask me how they can listen to this, where do they go to on the internet?
Oh, we're on Rumble. We are on Facebook. We're on X. So if they want to do it, do
Why don't we
Rumble,
send him the link as well?
rumble.com/this is my brain. Rumble.com/this is my brain. That's the main.
Did I forward you the show?
Yeah, I sent it to these two guys. So make sure he gets the.
Send it to him now.
Yeah, send it to him now. But we're also on X. We're also on Facebook, YouTube. We didn't do anything negative on YouTube. They allowed us. When Larry plays a soundbite from anything,
Yeah.
we get community struck.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Larry.
John Bovey's throwing out a $25 super chat over there, giving it to us. So thank you, John Bovey. He said, "This is the weekend show now, boys." He's asking. So I'm going to read it exactly the way he typed it in. He goes, "This a weekend show now, boys." That's the way he typed it out. So I'm like, yeah. But Rick, this has been an absolute pleasure. It is an absolute honor to meet individuals like you with such a huge track record of service to the community. But I think more importantly, you honor your wife tonight, and we didn't dive into it deep, but just your final thoughts. That's the dynamic. I found this huge perspective. When the founding fathers were establishing this country, one of the things that they thought of was they didn't give everybody the right to vote. But they were not in any way excluding the female dynamic. These were men who listened to their wives, because in Scripture, your wife is supposed to be what the mafia calls a consigliere. She's supposed to be your chief advocate, your chief advisor. And as I see you, you didn't elaborate on this, you didn't go into detail on this, but I see in you that your wife was your chief advisor to where you, and in fact, a couple times tonight, I pushed back and he said, what'd your wife have to say about that? What'd your wife have to say about it? Right. You know, but then you also elaborate on it. You're like, I'm going to go into law enforcement. Before you married her, before you committed her to a life with you, you said, this is what I'm going to do. Are you good with this? So then when you stood there and you said, honey, what should I do? And she said, get it done. Go after it. She was a praying woman. I know that, hearing it from your voice. And she was your chief advocate. She was your advisor. When you came home at night and you sat there trying to relax from a long day, you said, honey, I just don't always know. What do you think about this? Because your task as the husband to make that final decision, but you need your wife to be your chief advisor. And you had one of the most profound ones in your life who then made you the man that you are. And you acknowledge that tonight, and I think that's a huge testimony. It's this diet, what do they call that, dyad, the two halves, when they come together and they understand their roles in that. Your wife advising you, you making the decisions, leading the household, directing the household, being out there earning, not always the highest amount, but out there earning, being the best. Rick, it's been an absolute honor to sit with you tonight and hear your life story, hear your testimony publicly and privately about this. I don't know how we would make it any better to have you back, but I would love to have you back, even if it's just a commentary on the midterms, something like that. But this has been an absolute blessing and an honor to have you here, and I appreciate it so much. My keyboard's in my way, and I don't want to step over that. But thank you so much, Rick, for being here with us tonight.
Glad to do it.
It's been an honor. As always, guys, thank you, John Bovey, for the $25 super chat. This is the weekend show. It's an interview show, so Bovey, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Do all the stuff that you do, like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the show beyond super chats, go to thealexjonesstore.com/thisismybrain, thealexjonesstore.com/thisismybrain. Get some products there. I took the methylene red before the show, and I think I was quite aware.
So that's what happened.
Methylene blue, yeah.
I wondered.
Methylene red. There's all sorts of other. I take the turmeric gummies. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I know you do you do. Did you do the collagen? Did you get those? The jar of the.
I tried them. A friend of mine gave me some. It was good.
Good stuff.
Good.
Yes. Good stuff. But we get 10% of anything you buy there on the website. So go there. We're just supporting the show. We're into, we're doing our thing. But Rick, this has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Dude, you are welcome. Anytime you have thoughts, I know you're gonna push your own agenda, so I'm gonna make sure James bounces a ton of shit off you and says, Rick, do you have something to say? Because I'll get you in here just on a panel night, just on a night where we have a lot of
you have a wealth of information and
dude,
understanding.
I know that in 73 years you have this huge wealth of stories and insights and dynamics that you can share. And I'm glad I ended up titling tonight's a perspective conversation, because having your perspective tonight was phenomenal. And so I thank you beyond words for sharing your testimony tonight, sitting down with us, breaking bread, doing all that. Larry, you got the squeaky chair. I'm going to throw that chair out.
I could hear it the whole.
Dude, I could hear it the whole night.
Yeah.
And I try to. It's the one chair that squeaks, and I'm like, I try to get it out of the mix, and it doesn't do it. But love everybody tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Those of you tuning in on the rebroadcast, please hit the like button. Do all that stuff. It helps the algorithm. Do all that. with that, thank you, Rick Jones. Thank you, Larry Parsons. Thank you, James Benson, for all of you being here tonight. Appreciate you. Larry,
Pleasure having you, Rick.
we'll do that. And with that, guys, we're out of here.
Okay.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey,
Dude,
that's an egg.
seriously,
That's an egg.
It's a metaphor.
It's still an egg.
that's an egg.
I would challenge you.
That's an egg.
I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large brown cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with cakes?
A little sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they got to be able to resist some diseases.
You resist the disease.
Has it got any hormones?
Maybe. It's cage free.
Vegetarian?
Maybe.
Are they vegan?
No, I eat steak.
Never apologize and never explain.
Never apologize.
Never apologize and never explain.